I've tried to do kind of like scripted content with lives and stuff, and I don't know if they're working or not, to be honest. I mean, yeah. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just throw caution to the wind and just do something, I suppose. Yeah. What's this Harry said? Nothing. Right, cool. Yeah. Right, cool. Hello, people. If anybody's actually watching this, I don't think anybody's actually realised yet because I've not announced this in any way, shape, or form. So some people might pick it up on the live. Some people might pick it up after the fact and be like, "Oh, there was a live stream." So, okay, cool, sweet. Yeah, there was no plan with this. I think it was just that we both wanted a Tuesday beer, and this seemed like a reasonable excuse to have one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, this split thing actually kind of works with two people. It's when if somebody else gate crashes, we're going to have to go to kind of like, oh, we'll get a red screen, but you get less of us as well.
Like the Brady Bunch setup.
I was going to say the Golden Girls, and I don't know why, because that's completely irrelevant to the point.
Oh, Christ.
I've been trying to get up early recently. As a consequence, by the time it gets to around about 10 o'clock, I'm kind of like, is this what office workers feel like? Jesus.
Yeah. Being an office worker, it's it is like that. Except my office is my house now, which is better.
Yeah, I suppose. Are you trying to say that office work is YouTubing now, or are we not quite there yet?
No. Oh no. Nowhere near there.
I should quickly point out, actually, I am not in that same boat either. It's just that I have nothing else to do for this.
Well, I think 21st of June.
It's
open. I'll believe it when I see it that day.
In other news, the Titanic's unsinkable.
Yeah.
Well, it's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. It might be fine. It won't be fine. We're all going to die. But I mean, we knew that already.
Yeah.
On cheerier notes,
this is supposed to like cheer me up a little bit. Like,
also, I had like 3 people on board, and then I said that, and 2 of them went, "Not tonight."
That was your 2 Tory followers. How dare he? How very dare he?
Hide in the woodwork. It's fine. To be fair, like I don't exactly hide my opinions on that. So I mean, everyone could be critical of everyone else. Just don't make people cry, I suppose. I don't know. But anyway, yes, this is supposed to be brightening your day a little bit. So you came to me. I mean, I'm about as qualified as like Deanna Troy, and by that I mean I'm all tits and no qualifications. So nice little 80s reference right there. But yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's try and go pro. What are you on tonight?
I'm drinking. It's a bit of a fancy beer. It's from Ale Farm from Denmark. It's their Monolith double IPA, brewed with Citra BBC, Equinox, and Mosaic BBC at 8%, and it's damn good. It's bloody good. It's like a sort of really hazy affair.
Okay, I am drinking. I did something really dumb, and I decided to tidy up and tidied the can away in the process. One moment.
I'll vamp. I won't vamp.
Proper organised. Right. Also, good evening. I thought I'd change the colour up tonight because I was like, yeah, why not? Let's have some fun with the settings. Let's go for this violet green.
Nice lozenge shape name.
I like playing around with settings every now and then. It's fun. It keeps people on their toes. It keeps them guessing. It keeps them being like, oh, he's changed it again, hasn't he? That's what I like to be known for. Inconsistent.
Yeah. The opposite of branding. Just constantly changing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's become a joke at this point. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, new thumbnail. It'll last 2 months, whatever. Yeah, I shouldn't. Well, I won't ever be a designer, and that's not a bad thing. I am drinking some cake.
Ooh.
There's the camera. I think I had this like a year ago. Not this specific can, obviously. And I was like, holy shit, that is like liquid cake.
Yeah.
And
who was that? Was that Hamilton?
Hamilton, yeah.
Hamilton,
they do IPA, barrel aged, or imperial barrel aged. I'm not quite sure what the variant is that they do of this. I mean, this one's cracking on its own. So
yeah,
I don't know. I was gonna pick up like the next level one, and then I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna play safe this time and stick to what I know. So I'm chugging that out of a Belfield glass at the minute, and I have an emergency reserve in case this goes on until like 3 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
I suspect it's likely, but I mean, I've been furloughed since. When was Theresa May Prime Minister? No, it's not quite that way. It feels like it's that long, but not quite been that long.
No, I did enjoy my furlough, my furlough period, but it was only a short time really. It was only like 2 months.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah.
I mean, I'm loving it. On the one hand, I am ready to get back to work. On the other hand, the idea of having to like deal with the public again.
Yeah, arsehole public who haven't been out in ages, don't know how to behave.
Yeah. Because, like, what you would expect is kind of like, you know, out of all of this, we would have all kind of like banded together and everyone's kind of like, oh, you know, we're really grateful for you. You know what actually is going to happen? It's like, this doesn't have any vodka in it because I've been swigging straight out of the bottle for 6 months. And you're like, oh, God. No.
And you're going to have to constantly say, can you put your mask on, please? Can you put your mask on, please?
Oh, God,
can you put your mask on, please? Just every day.
I mean, I'm sure I've whinged about this already, like that weird moment in the summer where I think the government was like, well, everyone's going to break it anyway, so fuck it, let's make some money. And we reopened I think we were open for 7 weeks, the site that I was at. Yeah, the one biggest annoyance I had was we had this like old couple. Now, you can't say in customer service, you're as close to God as you should dare get at the moment. Don't push your luck.
Yeah, today could be the day.
You can't say that. So instead, you've got to be kind of like, oh, we've got a track and trace system. Can you use your phone? And this guy butts in and goes, well, we don't have phones. I was like, right, I'll fill it out myself. I'll take your details and all the rest of it. Sat them down. What did they start playing on? I mean,
I bet he was all smug when he was like, I told him we didn't have phones.
Oh no, it was like a wife and a husband, and clearly like, you know, not spoken to each other. We just, you know, tolerate each other at this point because, you know, they're on each other's insurance, and they just sat there on their phones, not talking to each other. I'm just like, if I could get away with it, I'd go. That time was like, never mind coronavirus. I'm your biggest worry at the moment, but that. To this day, that is the one thing that we had a lot of bullshit during those 6 weeks. We had, you know, like 5 guys all trying to pretend they're from the one household, and I was like, okay, I'm all for, you know, alternative households. Which one's the bottom here? Like, how's this working? It's like, you know,
is it like some sort of human centipede arrangement, or what's happening?
It's like it's fine, but at the same time, you know, there is a lot of things that I couldn't do as a consequence of like all this bullshit behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, do not test me. I will tell you where to go. Yeah,
that's what this whole sort of with the kids going back to school and all this is just very. I feel like we've been here before, and then this sort of ended in another lockdown.
What's the definition of insanity again?
Yeah. Trying the same thing, expecting a different outcome. I've got the old vaccine now, so we're out of the woods on that one.
Although that's ticking me off as well, but I'm obviously not annoyed that we've got the vaccine. I'm like, vaccinating people, making people live longer. No, not. But the reporting on it, I'm sure other people have said this already, but, you know, kind of like, oh, they've had like their first dose, they're vaccinated. And it's like, no. No, it gives some protection. It's not fully done. You know, it's like, it's apart from being untrue, it's also a dangerous precedent to set because, you know, there's plenty of stupid people out there, and they're probably like, I'm fine now, and go and start like
licking people.
Yeah.
we both went to licking. That was the first thing we thought of.
during like the first lockdown, I thought people in Edinburgh were quite bad, and then I saw like the maps of being like, Edinburgh is one of the best ones, and I was like, what are other people? And then I went to Manchester because my dad ended up in hospital. Nothing COVID related. He just has had a bad state of health this year, which is the best year to be in hospital 3 times.
Yeah.
So I went to Manchester to like take care of his stuff. I swear to God, like after like a couple of days, if I'd walked into Morrison's and seen like 3 people fisting each other at the like milk aisle or something, I'd have been like, that seems consistent with everything else that's going on at the minute.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. But yeah, how am I doing with this cheering you up business so far? I feel like I'm nailing.
It's just nice to talk to you.
Great job. Reminded me of like I've been watching a lot of Red Dwarf recently, and I watched The Inquisitor recently. And there's this bit where Lister and Crichton have been like erased from time by this like pseudo Terminator character, and Rimmer's kind of like, you don't know who I am because I'm a tough whatever, and then Lister just starts rattling off this string of things, which just say he's an absolute gobshite, and one of them is you worked on the Samaritan switchboard for one afternoon and 4 people who committed suicide. I feel like that's where I am at the moment. It's kind of like I'm trying to do well, but I'm going to end up with a record by the end of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, and also we won't talk about the coronavirus stuff, and then immediately we just started talking about it. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, we both went to Licking. We both got like yellow chairs behind us. We both got spring flowers. I mean,
yeah.
I've not got my fairy lights on, but other than that,
these are we put these up at Christmas, and then we just really love them now.
Yeah, that's great.
We brought a 20-meter set, so it literally goes from like one end of the room all the way round, and then like to the other side of the room. We underestimated how big 20 meters was.
Wrapped the entire. Yeah. Well, I had that with my last flat before it started, disintegrating. Oh no, other way. There we go. This is how disorganized I am. I haven't even done my hair or my makeup or anything. I had a string of fairy lights, and they were long enough, or rather my flat was small enough, that I could wrap the flat in them pretty much. So they were in my bedroom, went along the hallway and into like the living room kitchenette monstrosity thing. So it was great because I just plugged them in next to my bed, and I was like, right, switch the lights off, and like that was the lights for like the entire flat pretty much. So I needed to switch them on to go into the living room, and I could switch them back off when I was in bed. That was pretty great. And then they died after 6 months, and then I was sad.
Irreplaceable. You couldn't have got more. One of a kind.
Done, man. Argos hasn't been open in about 3 years now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Index. Do you remember Index?
Oh,
it was like
yes.
the Argos equivalent.
Yeah, it had like that weird tick in the logo, didn't it? I remember that.
Yeah. When there was 2 shops who did exactly the same thing, where you had to like look in a catalogue and then go and type in or write what you wanted. Such a strange concept.
That was a weird system. It's like, it's all there.
Yeah, it's in the back.
This slip with a random code on it.
And someone goes and gets it for you.
Over here, and then you announce it on a tannoy like some kind of weird karaoke or bingo. Yeah, that. Yeah. Why does this exist?
One of the most annoying things it was when you're like 628 and 627's up there, and you're like, oh fuck, I'm next. 628 is going to go, and then it goes to 629. You're like, where the fuck? What? Up 628?
And you're like,
why 629 getting it?
That desk, and you're like, where's my flat pack?
Yeah.
Room divider or whatever the bloody hell it was you were getting.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah. I've had this comment up for a while. I've not actually talked about it. Where did you get super chats? I got monetized fairly recently, which was exciting. I know, right?
Making those big YouTube.
Do you know what? I would be modest about it, but I've put out a lot in the last year, so I mean, to hell with it. I kind of I fucking earned this.
Yeah. Well, if it pays for your like whiskey and other stuff, then fucking great.
I mean, at the minute, if it would pay for a new pair of shoes, that would be grand. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I always like that was Rob from Hop Scenes thing. It was like his first YouTube check that he got. He brought a pair of jeans. I like that. Just a real nice pair of jeans.
I mean, I set up a Patreon because I was like, well, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. Because like you look at like the dial it gives you, and you're like, okay, how much is that in minutes? And then you look at your numbers versus that, and you're just like, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
So then out of nowhere, it kind of did. But
that's great if you can. Why not? That's what I say.
Oh yeah. I mean, both yourself and Harry are nearly at 1,000 now, aren't you?
I looked the other day, and it's like I'm like 30 odd off, which is crazy. It's like I've been doing this beer tube and shit for like 5 years, and real like halfway through it's really stagnated. I was just putting out videos for the sake of putting out videos, sort of thing. And then, but like last year, I was like, oh, actually, I'm going to sort of put in a bit of effort and actually make videos that I want to make. And then also, and then funnily enough, that's when you start getting subscribers and stuff again, when you actually put in a bit of effort and people can see it, and it's like a natural thing. Yeah.
Well, the weirdest thing happened with mine, in the exact opposite to what I thought would happen, happened in that I started using this, and I was like, right, this is going to scare everyone off, and it didn't. I actually started pulling people in. I was like, oh, okay, this is the opposite of what I was expecting, but okay, cool. And I just kind of like carried on dicking around. I mean, if like I look back to like the number of times I've like changed how it looks, I'm not just because obviously I've moved because, you know, ceilings, but like it's kind of all over the place. like the last 12 months is like you could pick every other month. You kind of like, oh, it looks different here and here, and you know, I aim for consistency, and I veer so far off.
I mean, I still struggle to upload one video a week, and I've always had that struggle.
I am trying to do a video a day for this week. So far, I'm doing okay, but I'm just going to do spirits this week, because the good thing with spirits is you can you know, so I'm not going to end up as a chalk outline by the end of the week, which I mean is never a good look for anybody. No. Woohoo! I've crashed a rant. What are we ranting about? There's been a lot in the last minutes. We've covered a lot of territory in like a quarter of an hour.
We're just going to be sort of sitting here twiddling our thumbs soon. It's been like, so how's the weather?
That's what like a lot of my live streams have been in the last couple, because I was like, all right, I'll do like something themed. I'll try and be like, you know, a bit more organized. And what happens is I run out of steam around about the 40-minute mark. Sometimes I can drag it out a little bit longer if people are good in the comments, but after that, I'm kind of like,
well, that's like I've been using the last couple of weeks. I've been doing because my biggest thing is that I'll shoot a video, and then I just won't put it out. I just won't get round to editing it, and it just sits there on my phone. So for beers that I know I'll definitely do that with, where I'll shoot the video and then never put it out. I've just been streaming for like 10 minutes. It's made like a little bit of content for the channel of a beer that I would normally just sit in my phone. So it's like I'm almost using it as a little supplement, as a little sort of like extra little bit of Jake on the channel, unedited, raw.
Raw.
That's
next.
Not quite as good as Eddie Murphy's one, but and then just making stupid videos. That's my path at the moment. So a couple of live streams dotted about amongst properly done videos.
But you know, speaking of stupid videos, I'm going to quickly get through the comments, and then we're going to talk about Olly for a minute. And I'm not just going to be like, oh, what a beautiful man he is. We'll get round to it. But, you know, I want to talk about a weird series of coincidences that have been happening with sort of him and me content-wise. Because it's gone from kind of like, oh, this is a fun few coincidences to this is getting uncanny now. Where are the cameras hiding? Crystal says, cheers from Germany. Hello, thank you for. I don't actually know what time it is in Germany. It could be like mid-afternoon, but I'm going to assume you're staying up. I don't know. As a Scottish resident, what do you think about Mr. Blue Nose doing the world premiere of Dragon Soup, Rhubarb and Custard? I wish him well. I will remind him to make sure his life insurance is up to date before he does it, because I feel like that's relevant. So,
and he has to incorporate the Rhubarb and Custard theme tune into the.
I was going to say the sweets.
The sweets.
Or you have some rhubarb and some custard.
Yeah.
Because I mean, after like a quarter of a can of that, you're so wired you'd do anything. You'd probably do Anne Widdecombe. That's how much caffeine.
Oh God, no amount of Dragon Soup. Or maybe I don't know. I've never had Dragon Soup.
I've got a can in the fridge, and I am scared to touch it. I was going to do it as Harry's Christmas present. I had originally had this idea to do. I was going to do viewer requests, but I wasn't going to tell anyone that I was doing viewer requests. So what I did was I went through like comments and looked back at like what people had said. Oh, you should do this. And I was going to like post up like 4 or 5 videos and tag people in them saying like, hey, here's like, I've done this because you asked for it, kind of a thing. And I wasn't able to do it ultimately because Dad had another scare, my dad basically, and that kind of obviously took precedence. So I was like, okay, 5 videos or this. I'm obviously going to deal with this instead. I run out of steam. I do the same with solo live streams.
Craig's good at vamping though. Craig can keep going.
Well, I mean, what was it I did? It wasn't the last stream, because I was sensible enough to call it quits when I was like, okay, I'm done now. It was the one before that where we were talking about chocolate, and that did not last as long as I thought it would. Because I tried doing the Hotel Chocolat liqueurs, and I was like, right, it was 3 of these. That should last like an hour and a half. I should be able to get. And after like 50 minutes, I was done with all 3. I was like, shit, I'm running under a little bit. What else can I do? So I got out an old copy of Mrs. Beaton and read out her entry for making chocolate. And bizarrely, people found that quite entertaining. But it was after that I was kind of like, I need to call this a night now because this, I feel like it's getting a bit desperate. So I'm coming across as well. But I'm still getting used to this. I'm still kind of surprised I do lives at the moment because it's scary. On some lovely burnt mill. But what exactly? Burnt mill?
Oh, it's a brewery from around my way actually. And they make some chef's kiss beers.
Kiss stuff. Yeah. I've heard good things about burnt mill. Yeah, no, that was a full sentence. That was what do you guys prefer, San Miguel or Sam Michaels? I suppose by default San Miguel because I've had it.
Is San the Spanish for Sam?
It's like Tia Maria, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'll have some Aunt Maria. Like, you'll do what now? Or Uncle Pepe, Tio Pepe. The day I found out Bon Marché, which just means little market, it's like, that's cute. That's adorable. Right, so that's us caught up with the comments. Keep them coming, thank you guys.
So you were talking about Olly and
yes,
videos.
So I've had this. It's now going to be the 3rd occasion that this has happened. You may be aware. I know full well that you're aware that you recently spoke about Cockhail. Literally last week, I learned that existed. I don't know where I'd been up until that point. I don't know how that had just never become a search term that I had accidentally Googled at some point. But for whatever reason, I did not know that this thing was a thing. And then through a series of random, we'll call them searches, I found out that it existed. And I was like, oh, right, what's this? And found out it was basically just somebody decided to put a fucking chicken in some beer and call it a day.
That's like a rudimentary cough medicine.
It's pretty much, yeah. It was sort of like chicken soup meets beer meets bastardized butterbeer, basically. Weird. So I was like, ooh, it'd be funny if I did a video on this, because I had a quick look and I was like, right, has anyone done this outside of the American brewing community? And the answer was no. I was like, do you know, I'll get around to this. So I put it on the list and I was like, well, maybe do that in like 2-3 weeks. And then Olly pops up and I'm like, oh, Olly's done a new video. And I see that and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. The randomest, but like this has happened twice now. It happened with, well, there's a brewery video that I can't quite remember, but I remember like I was planning on doing it. And then literally the next day he popped up with it. And the last time it happened was with the Iron Brew beers. So I got my hands on the Cranky Iron Brew Sour, and I was going to do a video about that. And I was going to do it like comparing it to regular Iron Brew. I was like, right, cool. And I literally had it recorded. And then the day I was going to put it out, Olly put his up, and I was like, I don't want to put it up now because it looks like I've just gone, oh, Olly's done this, so I'll do it as well. So yeah, so that's like the third time that I can think of that's happened.
That's crazy.
It's getting weird.
Yeah, because also Holly, like I said, I struggle for one video a week. Olly is like one video a month sort of territory at this point. So that's even stranger. So like his hit rate to yours sort of thing.
Yeah. Plus, like, you know, just kind of like nailing that bullseye on that many occasions. It's strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure it'll happen again.
Yeah, that Cockhail thing was it brought it to my attention. It's the first time I heard of it. Yeah.
Because there is a video where somebody made it.
Oh God.
And it's not a pretty process.
Is it cooked? Is it cooked rooster or whatever the hell they put in it? Or is it just raw?
If memory serves, they sort of boil it in the mash, I think. I'm not a brewer. I'm not very good at this side of things. But yeah, I think they essentially boil it in the primordial beer and they end up with cockerel beer. Yeah. That is then ladled to the poor.
For sustenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'd try it though. If someone did that. Well, I mean, we had the Yorkshire pudding beer and everything like that, and all those sort of crazy beers that I've had beers with shellfish in it. So is chicken that far-fetched?
Farfetch was a duck though.
Yeah. With a leak.
Yeah.
He held a leak.
That was a strange Pokemon.
Yeah. I
can only assume, because there was a running gag about Farfetch in the Pokemon. We're talking about Pokemon now.
If you start this Pokemon thing, this could be content for hours now.
Yeah. Well, there was like a running gag with Farfetch, and they're like, with every generation, they found a way to screw it over worse. So not only did they never give it any evolution until recently, there was various changes to the metagame and stuff, which meant that everything that it did, it consistently started doing it worse by virtue of just kind of standing still.
Yeah.
And there was someone I knew who did gaming content, and they were like, I can only assume that Farfetch was found in bed with the wife of Pokemon's creator or something to deserve this kind
with the leak, holding the leak menacingly.
Holding it somewhere.
Yeah.
Consistently just screwed over. It's like this, there's something funny here. When is John drowns his sorrows from a previous life?
Is that poetry? Is that a haiku?
I don't know. It's I think I've had enough spin-off channels for one lifetime as is, to be fair. I think I'll stick to what I know for now. Chicken and ale, yum. Did they did mighty odd shit in the 17th and 18th centuries. They continue to do it today, to be fair. I mean, as previously mentioned, we've had Yorkshire pudding beers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Did you mention hidden cameras? I mean, I have been hearing a lot of scuttling in the walls, but I just assumed that they were rodents. Edinburgh tenements, I mean, they're usually riddled. Swear Surf Etched is now meta.
Is that the evolution of Farfetch with when he has like a shield now? He has like a leak shield, yeah. Surf Etched. I didn't know that was the name. I'm not quite caught up on the modern stuff yet.
They did the same thing with Corselet in that they made a variant. So, like, do you remember the anime where they go to the Orange Islands?
Mm-hmm.
And they're walking around, and they're like, oh, that Vileplume looks different, and that Paris looks different. It's like, yes, because it's a tropical climate, so shit looks different. And like, all right, cool. Like 15 years later, they're like, we're going to nick that idea and we're going to put it into the games. So they just like, to be fair, they have done like redesigns. It's not just recolors, which they totally could have gone away with, because I mean, Pokemon fans will go with anything at this point. Yeah,
it's like I've seen the Diglett with like hair. It's like blonde hair Diglett. What's that about? It's like it's got like sort of like NSYNC like curtains.
Yeah, and then when it evolves into Dugtrio, it gets like this beautiful weave. Imagine like it emerged from the ground and goes. Yeah, it's showing.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly added beer to a chicken roast. I have seen videos of people barbecuing chickens that have been buggered with a can of lager.
Get it right up there.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I need to add that to my post-lockdown list. Haven't decided that's going to be a chicken or the man yet, but we'll see. Not all that odd, actually. Makes wonderful gravy. No comment. Other way around, though. Yeah, it reminds me vaguely of like Butterbeer. And if it wasn't for J.K. Rowling, or Rowling, or Rowlplug, or however you pronounce it, then, that would be another one of those ones that just, was consigned to history. And we'd probably all be kind of like, oh, that's really weird, because it's like eggs and butter in beer.
Mm-hmm.
But Harry Potter were kind of like, I would actually do that at some point, if only for the fact that I get to use the line, what was the line? Harry Potter Order and renowned turf J.K. Rowling has made this beer much more popular than it ever was during the Tudor period.
It's a very niche line.
It is, but I mean, she closed down an entire street to get her hedges trimmed. That's not a euphemism.
I was going to say that's extreme.
Yeah,
very worried about the paparazzi if that's what you're doing.
Well, she's got like 10-foot high hedges and stuff like that. Like.
Yeah, it's Harry Potter is just something I've never got into, and now I never will.
No. I mean, my fella loves Harry Potter. Like, he's been to Harry Potter World, he's seen all the films, he's read all the books, and the crushing disappointment he felt when obviously all this came out. As like, obviously everyone's trying to validate, separating the art from the artist, and to be fair, they do send very different messages, so that's valid.
And I mean, throughout history you have to, if it, like, you wouldn't read Roald Dahl, you wouldn't listen to the Beatles, you like if you based it on the people rather than the actual stuff that they created, then there'd be very little you'd actually want to enjoy. No films, like most like directors are absolute arseholes who have done atrocious stuff.
Beatrix Potter, she was a cunt.
Yeah,
That's like a sentence at the same time.
Yeah, which obviously you can't sort of quantify everything like that, but like you do have to, if you enjoy something, you can enjoy it without having to read into the person who, you can just gloss over that and not interact with them.
Yeah, I mean it's that partly that thing about like sort of childhood heroes, isn't it? Like, I remember when I read in the newspaper that Craig Charles was found in the back of a taxi, like huffing 9 different kinds of narcotics out of a porn magazine or whatever it was. Like, there's a famous picture of him kind of like out of his face in the back of a taxi. And obviously the taxi driver, like, you know, made a couple of quid off of being like, hey, you know that guy from Red Dwarf and Robot Wars? You'll never guess what. I remember just reading it and being like, oh, that's disappointing. I wasn't angry, I was just disappointed.
Yeah.
You know? And having recently rewatched an episode of like classic Robot Wars where Plunderbird were in it, as a 29-year-old man, I now understand why he was taking drugs, having to deal with some of the shit that was on that show. So fair play to him, really.
Yeah. And that's like self-inflicted stuff, isn't it? So that's not so bad. That's him doing it to himself. It's not sort of having certain views or doing stuff to other people.
It's not inflicting anything to anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a much more minor sort of a thing by comparison. But yeah, there's always going to be problematic people throughout history.
Exactly. It's like all those Jimmy Savile fans absolutely crushed when they found out. They had no clue. He gave no signifiers or clues that he was up to no good. So complete shock. Scot-free.
You know, part of that was because, you know, some people did try and come forward and everyone was just like, nah, shut your face. You know, so that was not great. But at the risk of talking about Jimmy Savile for the night.
So hold on. Pokemon, Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
Olly. We're ticking off the
all over
36 minutes in.
Pokemon, Jimmy Savile, and Olly. If you ever watch, like, what is going on? What?
Right, I need to grab another beer, so I'm going to go grab that quickly.
Right, you are. I will keep the masses entertained. So how's everyone been doing? That's the two people. Jake's the only reason people have tuned in. Can't blame them. How are folks? How are humans on this? It's still Tuesday, isn't it? Actually, is it Tuesday? I've lost track of the days of the week. It is Tuesday. Who is like Olly? I tell you what, I will put in his. I won't give you a link because that involves going onto a different tab, and that's just too much effort for my millennial sensibilities these days. But this is his channel name. He puts. And that's weird. Within seconds of each other. That's the kind of spontaneous sort of weird coincidences that we were talking about. But yeah, that's his channel. He's been doing this for a wee while. He's extremely funny, like really funny, and he does skits and all sorts. There was like a Disney montage that he did fairly recently. I'm bigging up Olly at the minute.
That the work that would have gone into fucking putting his face and tracking it on every shot of that. Yeah. Montage. Also, it's just not worth thinking about.
I get the feeling that montage is still going now.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching it and being like, oh, he's doing a little thing, and then like you're 5 minutes in, you're like, this is still going.
And then he talks about the beer, and that's like 2 minutes of it.
Where's the rest of the video? Like, yeah. I was like, I mean, we're over halfway down the tracking line, and we've not gotten to the beer yet. What?
Which I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, all right, cool. I don't think I could ever pull off that, partly because I'd get bored too quickly. Like
that's a lot of work to track. So you shoot it, and I assume you did it on a green screen, then have to cut it out and then track it on every frame.
But he did it with other people as well. That's the thing. So
yeah, I was in it.
Yeah. You know, it was like he chopped you and other people out, and then had to glue them in as well over like existing Disney characters. But yeah, so it.
And he must have got a big old copyright strike for that.
Oh,
I used 4 seconds of the monkeys in one of my videos, and I got a fucking copyright strike. Like 4 seconds. So if just a whole Disney song, they're going to come after you.
There was something I used off of, I think it was Epidemic Sound or something, and even though I bought the song, which should have given me rights to the license, or rather, like there's a licensing agreement with it, in that, like, if you
even if you don't pay for Epidemic Sound, you still
if but if you do it like through purchasing and give credit, which I had done, and YouTube still flagged it, so I ended up chopping it out and replacing it with something more generic off of YouTube side of things. So there is a video out there where like the end credit for the music doesn't match up with what's actually in the video, which is annoying, but was also necessary. So I'm glad somebody said it. I'm not even sure why I'm here.
Same here. It's Tuesday.
What? There was a hint of sadness in your voice. Like, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, and now we're drinking. And I'm also like 4 beers deep on a Tuesday.
It's fine. I'm packing the big guns after the cake is done. I've got.
Oh, you're really going full cake. Well, I had.
I'm going sweets.
I had this earlier to go with the cake theme a little bit, which is a Mexican hot chocolate stout.
I completely missed your live because I was watching Snowpiercer. That comes out.
Oh, don't tell me.
Netflix.
Don't tell me.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
It's a great series, though.
It is. All I will say is I am loving it. I kind of want to send it to Chris Chibnall and be like, yeah, effects are fine, but the effects in this are shit. But what makes it good is the story's interesting.
Yeah. The thing when like me and my wife are watching it, the thing that we take away from the whole series, and we say it probably, it's become like a joke now, is how annoying would it be every day when you have to like pass people. It's annoying on a train anyway when you have to go, oh sorry, oh excuse me, sorry about that, all the time. That's what would wind me up about living on a fucking train.
Also,
and that's my takeaway from Snowpiercer.
Can you imagine if a pandemic broke out? You're knackered.
Yeah,
that's an extinction level event right there.
Yeah.
But So, who's your favorite character in that show?
I am enjoying Sean Bean at the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's my favorite character. But I do like I can't remember his name now. David Diggs. Who's he? Who does he play? What's it? He's not the main character.
He's the main character, and I can't remember his name.
Leighton.
Yeah. I'll take or leave Leighton, to be honest. I think if I were to pick a favorite character, it would be Ruth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Always just on the verge of tears.
Yeah,
like,
she kind of
everything.
Yeah, she kind of reminds me of if my mum was just like a bit more of a cunt, but at the same time, just kind of like, that fine line of like, I'm a complete bitch, but at the same time, if you have a problem, I will sort it.
Yeah.
It's that fine line kind of thing, but not a lot of. I come off sounding like I really hated my mum as well, don't I? Often that, like, I don't. It was more just kind of like, one of those people like, you wouldn't cross her, but at the same time, you could go to her with pretty much anything.
The sort of person you definitely want on your side.
Basically.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
Which I think is what, what's her face? Forgetting all the names of all the characters.
Melanie?
Melanie, yeah. That was something she said a couple episodes ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I think if the recent episode came out, I think we're 2 episodes behind. So the last one I saw was when she sort of actually like leaves.
Yeah.
The train.
Yeah. She just went.
Spoiler alert, everyone, with the Snowpiercer fans here.
And she was kind of like, I mean, she said it a bit more succinctly, but she was along the lines of kind of like, don't fuck with her.
Yeah, especially because she's like a Wilfred loyalist.
Yeah,
sort of thing. Well, she is and she isn't. Sort of. It's a good series.
It is. You should catch up in the latest episode because there is a bit of a Ruth resolution there, but I won't spoil it. But it's a good scene. On that, we'll check it out and your guest's channel too. Why have you not checked Mr. Obear yet?
That's my name.
It took me. I was like today years old when I discovered that it wasn't your channel name is not in the same vein of like jack-o'-lantern.
Well, there isn't a
It's your name and yeah, but for whatever reason, I ignored that, and I was like, oh, okay, so yeah,
yeah,
it's just his name. I understand.
Yeah, and then I just added the word beer to it because for some reason I didn't want to put reviews in the title, so I just stopped it. I just stopped it at beer. Draco beer. That's what it's about.
It gets too chunky, doesn't it? That's yeah.
It's in my Jake. So it's like, you know, the customized channel things, the URL that YouTube gives you. So my customized one is Jaco beer reviews, but then like but it's weird because I don't know why it's not in my actual name of my channel. I can't remember particularly setting up the custom thing.
I mean, you can edit the name, like you can't edit the URL for some, you know, because.
And my URL is there, but it doesn't show up. It's like I can send it to people and it works.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's just the full weird thing where it's like 20 letters after it.
Yeah, I have that where it's kind of like random letters and numbers, but I do have the URL set up. Yeah. And if you use that URL, it works, but it's not viewable.
It doesn't like display. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's strange. Maybe it's just for, like, you know, if you have a business card, because, you know, they're hip and modern as a thing. Mexican hot chocolate beer. Is it spicy? Is it spicy?
So this one has pasilla peppers, cinnamon, and nutmeg. So I wouldn't call it a chili beer. It's not like it. There's a little. You get the chili flavor without like the chili heat. Just a gentle sort of spiciness, but it's damn good. This was like 4 or 5 years ago was the first time I had this, and that at the time that was like a groundbreaking revelationary beer. And so when I saw this can pop up on Trembler Madness, I was like, I've got to try it again, and it didn't quite live up to the memories that I have of it, but it's still good. It's still damn good, but it just didn't quite live up to the pedestal that I put it on in my head. But it's still damn delicious.
Okay. I was considering maybe cracking it open on this, but I'm going to leave it for another day. It might happen. I don't know yet. But I've got a keys over there.
Oh, okay.
Because I know a fair few people are talking about them in a minute. I got it's the Tequila Barrel Impy Stouts. Because I'm like, I wonder how those two things are going to crash together. That seems odd, but I mean, I've had like some tequila-based sweet liqueurs in the past, and they work fine. So
you will get people telling you how to pronounce the brewery properly on your video. It happens on every K's video that's going. People can't leave it alone because it's not keys apparently, even though it says K-E-S. It's like K's.
Do you know, now you said that, I might just mispronounce it every single time.
Every single time you reference it.
Increasingly more outrageous ways of saying it. It's like, this is quiche.
This is quiche.
This is quiche.
A fine tuna quiche. And this is keys.
This is quiz. Yeah, just like how many K sounds can I find? Yeah. Channel Droopy Whiskey. Yeah.
Droopy.
Funny. I was really confused until I found out that the guy's name is Drew Pond. Oh. But it also works.
Droopy. It's great though. Droopy. Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, man. There's nothing worse than, you know, when you're absolutely blasted and you get somebody home and it's not happening.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. I'll look forward to it here.
I mean, it's an American. I know you put a Canadian flag, but Stone's an American brewery, so pretty accessible, and they're huge, so pretty accessible.
Yeah, they're a big old operation.
Yeah.
Those lads. We have a whiskey and mezcal CDN. You might have to spell that one out for us. Unfortunately, we're You've got to remember.
What would you guess that means? Canned. Whiskey and Mezcal CDM. It's probably something so obvious that we should know what that means.
Oh, it's just an abbreviation of Canadian, I think.
Oh, like a
Whiskey and Mezcal Canadian? It's oddly good. I'm screwing this up, and you can tell.
Yeah. So is it whiskey and mezcal mixed together?
Let's get this mysterious summons back up. We have a whiskey and mezcal. It's oddly good. So I was talking about the tequila beer, wasn't I? So I will get this. It stands for Clits Don't Newt.
Yep.
Yep.
If that's not, I'll be surprised if it's not that.
Yep.
Can't drink nothing. Not quite as good.
Cannibal.
I think if the next comment does say Canadian, she has put Canadian as the next comment.
I've probably lost a subscriber, and to be fair, if that happens, it feels fair for once. Like, sometimes people kind of like, oh, you wore a green jumper today, unsubscribe. Like sometimes people can be a bit petty. It's like I get the feeling I'm being a complete idiot at the minute. So
I think she's clarified it now on the next comment.
Have to spell it out to the special scissors and glitter people. Whiskey with a bit of mezcal. We can add stuff to whiskey here. OMG. Actually, on that, there was clarification on whiskey chat. There was clarification on what you can use for like cask finishes by the SWA. I think possibly because one of their Keystone members was kind of like, we want to experiment, here's some money. And the Scotch Whisky Association was like, whatever you say, sir, would you like your nipples licked? Because they do just kind of like, they're bought out by the big boys, for want of a better way of putting it. And I think Deanston are going to be running out a tequila finish and a mezcal finish of Scotch, but they're still working on it at the minute. It's not out yet. I think they want to get a bit more fanfare going for it.
When you say finish, does that mean in a tequila barrel? What does finish mean?
So normally you would make the whiskey and then pop it in a barrel. So your options are you can either put it in fresh oak, ex-bourbon, which is, as it sounds, in America, you're allowed to use a bourbon barrel once because really stringent rules. So America just has all these barrels and they're just kind of like, I don't fucking do anything with these. And Scotland's kind of like, I'll have those. It's kind of like the Facebook marketplace of whiskey.
Yeah.
And like somebody's kind of like, right, well, I used this blender once thinking I was going to do breakfast smoothies, but I decided I'll just eat Cocoa Pops every day who wants it. And then somebody's like, yeah, I'll have that for a tenner, why not? So we take a lot of those and you end up with lots of bourbon barrels. Or alternatively, you can take a cask that something else has been finishing. So say, for example, a red wine cask, a port barrel, sherry butts. It's called a port pipe, but a beer barrel. And you can mature it in that, provided it's oak. So provided the wood that it's made from is oak, you're golden, pretty much. So
does it sit in there the whole time, or
It depends. If it's whole, it can be wholly matured in it. You tend to get that with sherry ones quite a lot. But a finish would be it lives most of its life in a standard or ex-bourbon barrel. And then for like 6 months, a year, they're kind of like, okay,
Stick it in that one.
they stick it into the other one. There is a company out there, it's an independent bottler, and they're doing something interesting. They're called, I'm going to butcher the Gaelic, but it's Nabrathan, and it means two brothers, or the brothers. I'm not quite sure which the translation is. And basically what they do is they take one outrun of whiskey from one distillery, say like Glencadam or something, and then they split what they've got. And they don't split it down the middle, so they do like 70%, 30%. And they'll mature one in one barrel and one in another. And then they release 2 bottles. The idea being, with a bit
you buy 2.
Exactly.
Going back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's the Pokemon model.
It's the same thing, because there are...
Got to catch them all.
They like to go, okay, what's the difference between this, that? Springbank did some really good stuff with, like, local barley. Because what they found was, like, the local barley 10 and the regular 10, people would buy both and be like, what's the difference? Can I taste the terroir? And the answer is, not really. You just kind of like there, and you're kind of like, this tastes a little bit different from this one, but you can't nail down exactly what that is, so you just kind of fill in the blanks by saying, well, it's the barley or whatever. Brave woman. I will push the limit of that dedication. So having too much fun. Doers has a tequila finish. There's a review on the Whiskey Vaults. I have missed that. Right. Okay, so Doers have already done it then. Doers, it's unusual for them to be ahead of the curve. Okay. Well, good on them. It reminds me, I need to try some Alpha at some point. Apparently it's good. Do you know what? Tequila, as I've discovered, it's not all that shitty stuff we all had in a nightclub.
Yeah.
There is some like really decent stuff, and they do, there's a proper craft behind it. Also, blue agaves, if you've ever seen one, they are a scary plant. They're huge.
I quite like tequila. I just, even shitty tequila, I just still quite like the taste. It's
goes well with grapefruit juice.
Yeah.
You can have it on its own. Like there was a tequila I did like half a year ago, because loads of the patrons, I was like, loads of the patrons were like, what should I do? And they all went, tequila. And I was like, okay. So that happened. But actually, on the subject of shots, something came up recently on, I think it was my Instagram feed. And it was one of the head bartenders in a bar in New York or something, because of course it was. And they were talking about how Sambuca and dairy are a really good pairing. It's like,
yeah.
Okay. I'll try anything but scat once. So all right, well, I might give that a go at some point. So there was a couple of like recipe ideas.
There's got to be some coagulation going on with that mix.
Well, you say that, but at the same time, I have known people to do White Russians with Cascabel coffee or Patron X, that kind of a thing. So it's not that out there. And apparently it works over ice cream and stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't mind like anisets and stuff like that. So we'll get James in. Hello. I'm going to have to switch.
Yeah,
there we go. How about Tale of Cake? I'm on City of Cake, so that's what I'm.
I moved on to a very British beer.
Cute. Actually, I've got an empty beak can.
Yeah, how did you find it?
I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was quite punchy.
Yeah.
I found
I just like them because it's just so well made. It's just like really, they're not like one of those beers where you go, whoa, that's the best beer I've ever had, and it's gonna change your life. It's like just so good. So I've got like 8 beers that I brought from Beak this week. That rhymed. I've had a couple in this. I've had one from that lot, and then this the next one. So I've got a 5% IPA called Q, and I love their artwork. It's very, very different to what you see on the shelf of other craft beers.
It's so simple and distinctive. Like, it's Holy Trinity, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw those coming through Copenhagen in Chios, so I'll need to see if I can pick those up actually and have a look at them.
Definitely. If you see Beak stuff, James, go for it, because they're all top notch.
I'm on something a wee bit more unusual. This one. So this is Trilha Cervejaria from Sao Paulo in Brazil.
Okay, what that can looks like oddly sized. What size can is that?
It's 350.
Oh, okay.
So this was I've got a few Brazilian, like, it seems that Beer Dome in the Netherlands have got like a quite a steady supply of Brazilian beers, and I still had a few left over from before Christmas. So I'm trying to I've been trying to find information on the breweries. I emailed like 3 breweries today saying, like, look, I can't find anything on you guys. Can you help me out? So hopefully they reply within the next few days. But I'm just rattling off the last of my Brazilian beers that I bought. So this, and if you ever see anything from Trailha, this was like quite a big, a wheaty, bitey sort of IPA. If you think back to when we were in the era, like there was white IPAs and black IPAs before New England. It's quite like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it's good. It's good. Yeah.
On the subject of beer, James, something has happened that is your fault, but we'll get to it in a second. I've got to cover a couple.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm putting out a lot more whiskey stuff this week because it's fallen by the wayside a little bit, and I know a lot of people are a big fan of whiskey at the minute. So there's a couple of things on my shelf that are your fault, James, and I might need you to help me with them. Not tonight, but certainly in the future at some point, because I'm going to need, I think, a guided.
Oh, Vault Cities, okay.
So I went with Plum Bakewell and the Iron Brew. I was talking to one of the guys in the beer hive. It wasn't actually where I got them. I was getting some other stuff in there. We were talking about sours, and they well know, because every time you go in, they're kind of like, what can we help you with and all that kind of stuff. They're very attentive. And they know fairly famously at this point that I don't like sours. I've tried a lot, and I'm not connected with. And they'll try and recommend stuff, and there's like, at the end of the day, it's not quite, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. We were talking about, like different people have different tastes for different beers, and I was like, it's kind of like, loads of people, it's different people have different interests. Loads of people are like into women. It's just not my thing. Just because it's popular with a lot of people doesn't mean it's for everyone. And it's like, and they were like, I've never thought of it like that before, actually. And I was like, yeah, well, it's bloody good though. I might put it on a t-shirt yet. But so every time I try more sours, I'm kind of like, right, this is definitely going to be the last one this time. So I know something else will come along that'll be like, I don't fucking know, Tom Daly's dick flavored sour or something, and be like, that'll be the one. Maybe that'll be the one that will get me on board.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know that I had one from I've only had one from Vault City that I wasn't so enamored about, and it was was the double crust raspberry pie or something like that it was called, but that was a pastry sour, and I'm not so sure about the kind of grainy sort of thing that pastry sours and pastry stouts have. I'm not 100% on board with that. But no, sours will grow on you. I mean, I would say, that Iron Brew sour, I'd be very surprised if you don't like that. And the other one I would say to you to go, I would say go for either Duchesse de Bourgogne or Rodenbach for like a more traditional sour. Like Rodenbach or the Flanders Reds. Those are beautiful beers.
Okay. All right.
Because that's the thing, because sour beers is such a broad term, really. Because you can go down the whole lambic route, and they're sour to an extent, but they're not like blow your head off, face puckering sour. But then you go like the kettle sour route, and they can get really sort of silly and really acidic and over the top.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly do Frank as well, because apparently he's there. Oh shit.
That's the laptop gone.
Spilt a bit of that. The laptop's already knackered.
Oh
yeah.
That's a typewriter. That's not a laptop. I can see it in the back there.
That is a typewriter. Yeah.
The laptop's knackered. The ink's gone. Clack, 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 clack.
Actually works fine. I got a new ribbon for it.
Yeah.
So it's still operational. I have a MacBook here that doesn't work, and I have a typewriter that's like 50 years older than that, and it works fine. There was no point for that. I'm just saying. Have to be in the mood for sours. Very hot summer's day are good times for it. Yeah, I mean, if it was like 30 degrees out, I was by the side of a pool and I was dying of thirst, I'd probably be like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Yeah, blueberry and smegma sour, sure, whatever. I'll go for that. But yeah, I think it's really like the only sort of like family of beers that I struggle with, and part of that being that I don't know. It's
I think if you try breweries like Little Earth Project or Mills or Yonder, who do those sort of really historical style sour beers, you might find them a bit more palatable. They're more nuanced. They're more sort of like spirity. Yeah. Whereas like kettle sours can just be silly and just sour for sour's sake sort of thing.
I mean, the other thing that I could hook you up with the next time I come home, if you're interested, would be there's a good few breweries over here where it's a lot of the thing I like about Vault City, just to go on a sort of mini tangent, there's a few breweries over here, Morian Dagens, Duck Pond, Fermentarana. They do these kind of big sort of wheat oaty vanilla sort of creamy sours. And in a lot of the ways, I've said in a lot of my reviews that they're quite straight shooting in a lot of ways, but I don't know if there seems to be a sort of kind of sub-style developing called like a Nordic sour, because the thing you'll find with Vault City is they always put hops in their beers, and I think that gives them a more kind of depth of flavour. It gives them just a bit more depth, but like the quite a few of the Nordic breweries, they don't put hops in them, so they're actually it's like if you take like a Munch Bunch or a Petit Filou yogurt and just put a little make the fruitiness a bit more kind of intense and juicy and just put a wee bit of tartness in it. It's like that.
Oh, I was saying I miss Munch Bunch. I could still buy some.
Yeah.
I'm
still
fully grown adult. Yeah, fucking got fucking Munch Bunch in the fridge right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell if they've shrunk or I've grown 4 foot since I last had them.
Yeah,
it's possibly that I've gotten a tiny bit bigger.
They've probably got smaller as well. I had a Snickers the other day, and this was supposed to be a regular Snickers, and it was like that big. I was like, that's fucking disappointing.
Yeah, but
Snickers used to be like girthy. It used to be a girthy chocolate bar.
It's a whole thing though. Like they're charging you like the same price for like a smaller, a smaller object basically. That's it.
There's a chocolate bar that's gotten bigger, however. I talked about it a couple of streams ago. In fact, I gushed about it because I was so excited that it came back. The Marble Bar is back in town, and I am giddy.
Oh, well, the Dairy Milk Marble Bar.
It's just like dairy milk and white chocolate like marbled together, and it's got like a praline center. It's like 1 million calories per bar, and it's great. It was like my favorite chocolate growing up, like Terry's chocolate orange, because I was that weird kid who was like, oh yes, praline, that's what I need in my life.
Yeah. Mother, more praline, please.
Well, I mean, I grew up in like the scuzzy bit of Manchester where I was like, all right, mate, I'm gonna knife you, and and that's you asking for a fucking train ticket. It's like single to Brethren. It's like, I'm gonna fucking stab you. It's like, I've got a rail card. So that kind of area. I'm walking around with kind of like, oh hello, this kind of voice. My parents were surprised when I came out. I still doesn't compute, but so I think I just kind of went with it after a while. I was kind of like,
they acted surprised.
Yeah, they were kind of like, oh,
yeah,
kind of like he did a BBC interview about a year or so ago. There's a guy called Zachary McLeod Pinson, and he's the guy that goes around in like Georgian frock coats and stuff like that, and he's got his own tailoring business.
Oh, that's the dude who he never dresses modernly. He only dresses. Right. Okay, I know this guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And he put up a post on Instagram about 8 months ago, like once everything blew up because everyone knew who he was. It's been like coming out essentially. And I was like, if ever there was a more unnecessary news article, I think this was it. It's like, on the one hand, you don't want to judge. On the other hand, I'm not blind. there's a certain point after which you kind of like, duh.
I mean, I always wonder about it because I'm just kind of like, one of my best pals growing up is gay, and I'm just like, to me, I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Just like, that's. I think that's going to be the thing with like the next generations and stuff. It's not. I'm hoping that it's not such a big deal for them, because it doesn't. That's my attitude with this whole, with the whole thing. Is just like, who cares? It's like people should live their lives as they want, Yeah, that's it.
Or like the kind of like like self-identifying, like using your pronouns kind of thing. Like the people that are having an absolute Barney about it are the same people that be kind of like, oh, I just want to feel like a woman or be a real man. They're the kind of people that have been using their pronouns the whole time. They just don't think about it in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've not really thought about the whole kind of pronouns thing, but again, my attitude is just like, well, if people decide, they want to live as a man or a woman,
I mean,
not really much.
I use MX Manion on Twitter, and that's not because like I identify necessarily as like completely gender neutral or anything like that. It's just because Mr. Manion was already taken, and the aspect of like neutrality is that somebody who identifies as male should be able to use that as well. Would be my take on that. In the same way that they and their can be used by anybody because they're universally non-committal, for want of a better way of putting it. That's going to get heavy, isn't it? Very quick.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
it's interesting, I think, and I think this it's one of the things. It's one of the things for me. I mean, we talked about this like sort of the other week or something like that, and it's just I don't when it comes to the whole the sort of transgender thing, I'm just, again, as I say, it's to me the whole issue seems like there's a sort of debate going on about how the laws should be worded and stuff like this. And I know from my dad and sister are both lawyers, it's like, yeah, you have to make sure with, for example, civil partnerships, there was things there where, if a gay couple adopted a child, like only one parent was like the guardian sort of thing. So then this created a whole load of stuff with how do you say, like pensions and all of this. Whereas then when marriage came in, it was exactly the same. And I mean, I think, if I'm honest, I actually think this is the big thing that's going on with the whole, it's something similar. Obviously, it's different issues, but that's my impression of it, is a lot of this kind of debate, if you like, or this whole kind of hoo-ha about the transgender thing. It seems to be something about this. There's some sort of legal problem that's going on, and then there's a lot of, accusations going around, whereas I think I like to be positive about it. I think in Scotland, I think most people take the approach that, like, live and let live. I honestly think that. I think most people think, right, fine, whatever. I think that's the approach for me. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I've definitely very little in the way of like issue. I mean, I did get some homophobic abuse a couple of weeks ago, but it was my own fault for checking out a Ned. So I mean, what was I expecting? It's like, oh, I will smear my dick in meat paste and shove it into piranha infested waters. Like, what are you expecting to be the outcome of that? It's
yeah.
A change of subject, but say I can only go to 2 distilleries in Scotland. Where do I go for a good tour and time? Here's what we should do. We should pick the 2 distilleries that are the furthest away from each other. Am I being
What's
too
What's the other one? I know. What's the distillery on Shetland? There's Highland Park, and what's the other one?
I'm not sure actually. I'm not. This is why I've never done. Is it a Speyside on Aquavitae? Because my geography is terrible.
Shetland distilleries. Let's look at this. I'd love to do more whiskey reviews, but like, it's just, it's you say.
I mean, like Sky, I know Torre Vague, but only because they recently Scapa, is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, the thing I hope, honestly, with whiskey is, there's only, out of the wrecking, I hesitate to say, I'm a bit ignorant of the terminology with whiskey these days. I think I've got the palate for whiskey, but not quite the same knowledge as beer, obviously. But I think with whiskey, it's like, there's only like 1 distillery left out of the kind of older established ones that is independent. The rest of them are all part of like Diageo or, Kirin and stuff like this. But I think there's now like really small distilleries opening up, and we're getting more of an independent distilling scene, I think, which is good.
It's going to be a whiskey distillery. Like there's a lot of money. There's been a lot of like inaugural releases this year, and most of them have been snatched up straight away. Like again, Torre Vague, they were released middle of last week, and you gone straight away.
Yeah.
Daphne, you can't get your hands on it. I kind of feel a bit sorry for Nucnean, which, I mean, this is the one that I've got. This is a batch 1. It's one of the few like inaugural releases that kind of got left alone, and I feel bad for it because it's nice whiskey. What I've been saying to people is like, if you're a fan of Oban, give this a go, because it's another Oban. It's not made at the Oban distillery, but it's made on Oban. It's a different take. Also, the bottle's fucking gorgeous. Look at that.
Yeah. What we should do, what we should do at some stage, John, is we should like swap whiskey stashes and review. We should swap our whiskey stashes and review little bits and bobs and do things. I think that would be quite cool.
But, yeah. We should actually try and answer this question, though, I reckon. Say I only go to 2 distilleries in Scotland. I think I need a bit more information. In like, what are you looking at? Because I've got a few ideas, but it depends if like you're looking for one that's particularly scenic. Is there a particular style? Particular.
I would throw something else into the mix there. I think to get a proper experience of Scottish whiskey, you've got to have maybe a Speyside distillery, a Highland distillery, a Lowland distillery, and perhaps one of the island ones. I think that's probably. I think that you can't. I think 2's not good. Maybe you've got to have 4 or 5 to get a proper experience, maybe. And then maybe within that, you've got to have like a sort of citrusy orientated one, a smoky or a peaty orientated one, and maybe a more kind of sweet whiskey, if that makes sense.
Do you know, to do two, like just do two off of the bat, I'm going to say Glengoyne, really scenic, easy to get to from Glasgow, approachable malt that's not too simple, and they're well known as like a good distillery tour. And my other one, do Kill come and do tours? I think everyone does tours.
Well, they're really, I like. They came. Were you there when they came to the Aberdeen Whisky Society? Were you at that tasting?
I wasn't into my whiskies at that point. I was busy with Comsoc. Yeah, right. It was the Comedy Society. I had somebody at the reception desk at Butcher once. They were like, I was like, oh, our room's not ready for some reason. And they were like, what's the society? It's like, oh, it's Comsoc. They were like, sorry, can you say that again? I was like, yeah, Comsoc. And I was like, right, they're thinking Comsoc, right. And they picked up the phone. They were like, yeah, they're saying they've got a booking for the Communist Society. I was like, no. You filled in blanks where blanks were not there. No, stop. It's the Comedy Society, dear. And they're like,
Which one was Butcher? Was Butcher the one that was across from the football pitches?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the one that was in the middle of Hill Head? What was that building called again? They had the Kismat takeaway thing, and you could get the cheese and chips and the curries.
Yeah, it was a takeaway. Yeah, you mean like the downstairsy bit, the student union that wasn't a student.
Yeah, because they had the pub down there with the fucking miserable Irish guy who just was like hated everybody. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Oh God, what was it called? It was a shithole, whatever. It was just a converted basement, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember that. You used that pub was quite interesting. You used to go in to watch the Champions League, and you had like the Nigerian and Ghanaian guys wanting to like fight each other because they got really intense about their football. They were fighting over, they're getting really wanting to just have a punch up over, Chelsea and Liverpool or something like this, and you're like, fucking can't do, boys.
I think we're going to have to remind ourselves that Jake is also here and that talking about our days at Aberdeen University.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That's right. We could get back onto Pokemon and stuff later.
It's kind of, who remembers Macabre? I can regale you with stories of my time at the Bobbin if we're going to go down this road. But, I will say Talisker is a must because I love the whiskey and I hear the Isle of Skye is lovely.
Oh, Talisker for a nice peaty whiskey. Good.
Yeah, Talisker is a nice one. I really like the Port Ree that they do. I'm a big fan of that one. Talisker is a good shout. If you can get in, Bladnoch would be a good one actually. Just a few.
Was that a frozen pizza just ready to go?
Yeah. Hungry as shit. My sleeping pattern's a bit messed up at this week, so
that just screams indigestion to me.
I'm Scottish. My life expectancy is 40, so who cares?
Any day now.
Yeah.
11 years left.
Actually, that was about last time I was doing a live stream, which was a few nights ago. I was talking about I nearly didn't do the live stream because I was having like a funny stomach that day. And like halfway through the live stream, I started having like these really intense stomach pains. I was like in the middle of talking about something, responding to comments, and I was trying to be there, kind of like talking about comments at the time. I was in like quite a lot of pain. And I think you could tell. And I was in my head, I was like, do I cut this? Do I call it a night early? Because it was like I had 3 things to get through, and it's like if I believe or call it early after 1, people are going to think like I'm on my death.
Something's up, yeah.
So people think it's a lot worse than it is. So I was like, no, I'll stick it out, and it was fine in the end. It was kind of like, oh, I'm okay now. But yeah,
that reminds me of that, like that reminds me of that Jeff Goldblum scene from Friends. Do you remember that, where Jeff Goldblum is a acting coach, and it's probably because Jeff Goldblum makes anything instantly better, even Friends. And he's like a director or a casting agent or something like that. And Joey needs a piss.
Yeah.
So he rattles through the line, and Jeff Goldblum loves it. Jeff Goldblum like goes with it. It's like, yeah, the intensity. I like imagine that's what you like. You're sort of like getting more animated, more intense as it goes on.
In the back of my head, I was kind of like, am I going to shit myself live? That was also a concern. I was like,
well, figure the views for that.
This is like my 3rd or 4th live stream. Is it going to go that badly? He says doing the subsequent live stream and revealing all. But there's probably a few people in the audience now being like,
or they're like, oh,
we watched that stream. That's awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nothing happened. The most exciting thing that happened, I think, was Mogate crashed as per usual.
Well, and also, what's the worst that can happen? You just turn off the stream, and that's that stream done.
Yeah, it's like, excuse me for a minute. Yeah. Yeah. And then like the camera's like pointing to the ceiling as you hear like wailing in the background. Constant bit of Chewbacca in the background. Which is the echo of like, oh, sweet babies.
I used to love those videos where it was like furniture that sounds like Chewbacca. The one who had the nightstand who just opened the door.
Yeah.
One of my favorite videos on YouTube growing up was that time somebody threw a brick in a washing machine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a good one as well, yeah.
It's the simple things, isn't it? It's kind of like there's this knackered washing machine in someone's yard, and they've like gotten it to work with the door open, and you're just kind of like, oh, what'll happen? And then the brick goes in, you're just like, oh, it just won't die though. Oh, just let it happen, little washing machine. It's fine. And it's
it's the bit when you see when it tips over and you can see the actual like spinning part just shaking around on the axles. You're just like, yeah. It's the thing is, I wonder how they got it to work with the door open. Like, how do you override the circuits to do that?
Do you know what I should do? I should give out bingo cards for these live streams and be kind of like, right, you can tick off Pokemon, constipation, Chewbacca, and washing machines.
Yeah.
Well, my mum used to work with disabled kids for years, and there was one who apparently he was like obsessed with washing machines. Like he could tell you everything about. He could tell you everything about Zanussi. He could tell you everything about all the other brands and stuff like that. I used to just ask you as soon as he met you, what kind of washing machines you have? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I used to work for a fire extinguisher company. It's not as glamorous as it sounds. And we actually had a customer who was the mum of a autistic kid, and he obsessed about fire extinguishers and had a huge fire extinguisher collection. So every time we release a new fire extinguisher, she'd ring up and say, like, can we buy a fire extinguisher from you? And it was because this kid just loved fire extinguishers. I think in the end, the company just like gave them. Just every time we got one, just gave it to her. Because it became like a regular thing. Because like who buys like one fire extinguisher, and who rings up to buy it? So it was like every time it came out, like someone rang her from the customer service thing, said, "Oh, do you want us to send you the latest, send you the latest fire extinguisher?" But yeah, it's incredible, really. It's yeah.
That's pretty cool that they would do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is a fire extinguisher?
It depends on the size. Depends on what you want, what sort of fire you want to tackle. If it's like a normal CO2, that's like 20 quid. If it's like a sort of a chemical fire extinguisher, you're looking in a couple of hundreds.
Yeah.
I never thought fire extinguishers and OnlyFans had a connection, but there you are.
Yeah. Yeah, the wet chemical. Oh, get the wet chemical fire extinguisher out.
Like, what are you looking to put out?
No, that's the thing. I've never in my career in marketing, I've never had a sexy subject to talk about. It's been insurance, fire extinguishers, and valves. that's what. It's never like a sexy, exciting subject. Well,
I suppose, but in fairness, that's maybe a bit misleading. You maybe need to watch your marketing there, because each one of those things you can make innuendos about. So it could.
You could. Yeah. You just got to get it past the corporate side of the business.
They're always a fun bunch, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you like fun? No. As they sit there eating their cold semolina.
Yeah. One day there'll be a sexy subject.
Get to do like PR for like the latest Ann Summers or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, fucking hell. I'd love that. I'd be all over that. Not literally, but a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
There was an Ann Summers poster once, and I thought it was very clever. It was just a giant banner that said tops and bottoms, and then below it in minute writing was starts from and starts from. You had to like walk up to it and like take the and be like, oh, $5.99. That's not a bad price. You know, it worked because you were kind of like, yeah, it's funny because it's about fucking. It's Ann Summers, yeah. And then you walk up to it and like, oh, okay. Oh, here's the T&Cs in size 3 font. Okay. Yeah. So I recall that. Have I ever been to Ann Summers? I don't think I have. No.
Yeah, they're not that exciting. The inside of an Ann Summers.
Strange, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not like a seedy. They're very nice. They're very nice in there. It's not like a seedy sort of like porno sex store where it's like a bit weird. So why have you like blacked out the windows?
It's like walk in, there's like newspaper from 1984 over all the windows.
Yeah.
There's like a leather curtain and stuff, and there's just this guy behind the counter breathing heavily the whole time. Can I help you with anything? You're just surrounded by
well, if you ever go and visit Copenhagen, like all the Mezcal stuff in the next to the train station, there's lots of sex shops around there, and all the stuff you see in the window is quite interesting. Anal beads and like sex swings and all of this. It's quite funny.
I had an awkward encounter once with like one of my best friend's sex toys. I was right. The story's not going to places that you think it's going to be going. I was staying with a mate of mine. Let me finish. And I met him on the Royal Mile, and he was flyering. And I still had my bags with me, and I was like, right, cool. Do you mind if I drop these off? And he was like, yeah, sure, no worries. Here's the keys to my flat. You'll find yours in my bedside drawers. Got there. There was 2 bedside drawers. So I was like, right, I'll go with the one nearest to me. I was like, do you know what? We'll go top drawer. That seems safe. Oh no. Why are there 3? Okay. I'll try the other side. Oh, there's more.
He had to know there. He should have given way more specific directions.
Right?
Yeah, that's almost like, oh, you found them. You found them, did you?
Yeah.
So what you told me the fucking top drawer. So what else was I going to see?
It's kind of useless like that. It's like, do you want me to rummage around in there? Like, should I test the batteries to make sure they're okay? Like, well, that smells familiar. It's like, what were you expecting?
Not that top drawer. Well, you just said top drawer.
Yeah, I mean, like there was the first fringe, like he just started like shagging someone for the first time. and he had I don't know if he was like trying to show off or what was going on, but like his parents were round, not whilst he was shagging. I should quickly point that out. We were both really hungover, and the bird that he'd been banging was like back in Latvia or wherever. And they, for whatever reason, wanted like a tour of his flat, I think as some kind of torture, because they could see that we were hungover and they were enjoying themselves. And I like going to the room with him, and he's like talking about like his courses and stuff. And it was one of these ones where Edinburgh tenements sometimes can be a bit weird in that like random bedrooms will have like a fireplace in them. It's usually bricked up and it doesn't work anymore, but there's still like the remnants of a fireplace in it. And on the fireplace, all there was a 12-pack of condoms. And like they're coming into the room, and I'm like, right, okay. And then I noticed them behind me, and I'm just like, so I kind of like stand behind them, and like whenever they came around, I tried to like put my body between like them and the condoms, and then like they left. And it was like, oh right, I'm glad that's over. I just like grabbed them from behind me. I was like, put them in a fucking drawer, you idiot. It was like, oh shit.
At least they know he was being safe. At the very least.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time.
Is that a consolation? I don't know.
It's just something you don't want them to like. It's a weird thing, isn't it? In an old way, but it's just.
Well, it's like when I was a teenager and I was round one of my like good friend's house with like a load of other, like there was like three of us, and we went into his sister's room to look for cigarettes, and my mate so the brother of the sister opened the drawer and there was a vibrator in there, and it was the just panic on, and it was one of those things where you can't take. It was just like don't. It was one of those instant things of like, don't take the piss. This is serious. You've seen it now. Everyone knows you've seen it. So it's one of those things where you see the look in the person's eyes and you know not to take the piss. It was just like, don't fucking say anything. Yeah. Yeah, don't you tell anyone. He was a lot bigger than us, this guy as well. He was like the worst person this could have happened to. If it happened to any one of us, anyone else, you would know that you'd been taking the piss out for it, but it was just like, no, I'm shutting it down before. It's like, well, we shouldn't have come in here. that still sticks with me. The look of no.
It's that like look of dread. Yeah.
But behind his back, it was like we told everybody. but yeah, at the time, yeah. So what's the bingo up to now? What's the? Has anyone got a full line yet on the bingo card?
Yeah, if anyone had vibrators, then you can tick that off.
Yeah.
Do you know? I've been sipping on this for the past 15 minutes, not vibrators. I've not talked about it yet. So it's a white stout by the looks of things, because it is that color.
Oh, okay. Hold it up again.
Ooh. That's a dessert.
I just thought it was one of their crazy stouts, but that's different. Yeah,
it is. Well, I've clearly not looked into this very well because it just says dessert in a can and it just says white chocolate s'more.
Was this Amundsen?
Yeah.
It's
right.
Indeed. Do you know what? It's not committing to a style, bizarrely.
I bet it's like a white pastry stout.
Would be my guess because it's reminding me of like ones that Stewart's and stuff have done, but it's not committed because I don't want to be kind of like oh, it's a pale ale, just a base. Yeah, I'm going to commit with white stout. That's what I'm going to go with.
Let's see what good old Untapped has to say about it. Amundsen, what was that one called? Dessert in a can, s'more.
White chocolate smurs. Also, speaking of Untapped, have any of you guys signed up for the Fantasy Beer League?
I saw something on Instagram about that, but I haven't actually done it yet.
Yeah, I'm shit at it, but it's fun. The highest I've come so far is 45th. There's a guy called Toff Beer, which I think he keeps coming in like the top 5. So I don't know if he works for Untapped or he's just canny, but
yeah,
it's fun. I was curious to see if anyone else.
No, I haven't actually looked into it yet.
You can win fabulous prize. I don't know why I'm telling it. It's not like here's my link for 10% off and I get a free hand job. It's not one of those things. It's a bit of fun.
I've just looked it up on Untapped and they just call it an Imperial Stout. No. Oh my, what is this? An Imperial Double White Stout.
Untapped has that category now.
Imperial Double White.
Yeah, a white stout is created as a result of omitting dark roasted malts from the grain bill. It's not omitting; you're just not using them. That's it. There is a distinction there, isn't there?
It's segregation bit. No, let's not go down that fucking road.
Yeah, the white stout has always been. I've always been troubled by that style. It's just it's a bit of a oxymoron, isn't it?
It's a little bit, yeah. It's not what I was expecting. Nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. It's not my favorite dessert in a can.
Yeah, I've only had one or two of them because, to be honest with you, I was like, I mean, they're fairly easily accessible for me, and we get one, every month usually through Systembolaget. But I'm just usually like, meh. Like I actually prefer the big 440. I think the stouts that come out from Amundsen outside of that series are better, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. I do have another dessert. I've got one of the barrel-aged ones, and it's the pistachio cookie cake gangbang, whatever. It's nouns. It's just a series of nouns. I like pistachios, so we'll see how that one goes.
I think it's just the amount they pump out of them that it's just too hard to even keep up or even fathom trying them all.
It is. Plus, like, they're not exactly what you'd call affordable.
No, they've got more expensive. I think it's because there's demand for them. Obviously, it's they never used to be that expensive. Even like Omnipollo didn't used to be the cost it is now.
But even so, I think a lot of that's because the pound has dropped, and I mean, I think you have Norway is a very even between the UK and Sweden, there's about a 30% price difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then between Norway and Sweden, there's another 30%. So, Norway is pretty expensive. So you've got that on top of there. Plus, you've also got that sterling has gone because of Brexit. So,
that should not be named, but will be. The number of weird things that we've covered tonight, I think that's one of the less contentious.
But there's some. I do wish actually in Sweden that there was actually a beer released today. I'll need to go to Malmö tomorrow and see if I can get it. We actually don't get so many Norwegian things because it's the state-owned alcohol shops. We actually don't have so easy access to some of the smaller Norwegian breweries like Lindheim's and Monkey Brew.
I forget that it's super duper controlled. So that's probably the direction Scotland will go in if Sturgeon gets their way.
Well, that's why there's such a big homebrew scene in Norway and places like that, isn't there? Because it's like if you want Europe beer, you just brew it yourself, share it with your mates.
There's 750 breweries in Sweden now, and that's a country of 10 million people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Netherlands, which is like 17 million, has about the same. So
nice.
Yeah.
One here from Bogdan for everybody. Thoughts on beer prices? When do you draw the line?
I draw the line at whatever I put value in, I suppose.
Yeah, it's isn't it?
Yeah. So there's some beers where I'd look at it and go, £6? £6 for that? I'm not buying that. But there's beers where I'll go, 28 quid? 28 quid for that? I'll do that.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, the dessert in the cans, I paid, I don't know, fucking hell, I think I just handed over an arm for one of these, but yeah, they're about £9 a pop. They're not cheap. Not cheap at all. But I really like them. So I was okay putting that forward, and I was like, do you know what? I know what it's not like it costs or anything. I know that this is gonna, I'm gonna have to sell a kidney on eBay for this. And things like the Barrel Reserve Plum Porter from Titanic last year, that was like £9-10, I think it was. But it came with a fancy flip top bottle, which was cute. And again, I was okay trying that. I was okay paying that because I was like, I want to try it. But then, if I see like a can of Tennants for more than 50p, I'll be like, you fucking what, mate? So it's like,
you turn proper mank.
Yeah. I fucking knife you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's whatever I want to pay. If I think I'm going to enjoy it for that price, and I think that price is worth it, then I'll do it. But because there's so much shit that is the same price as like good stuff.
Yeah,
that's the trouble. like recently, and it's not saying it's shit, but so recently I brought a triple IPA from Other Half from the Cloudwater website. That was £10, and then at my local bottle shop there was a triple IPA from a very small brewery from Birmingham for £10. I've never tried any of their other beers, so I've tried Other Half beers. Other Half have the reputation. It's imported from America by Cloudwater, one of the best breweries in the UK. So I'm happy to part of £10 for that triple IPA, but that sort of more obscure brewery from Birmingham who's selling their IPA at £10. And I know obviously there's markup because the bottle shop has to make money and all that bollocks, but still I have to part of £10. I can't do it. I can't take the punt on a £10, whereas I know that Other Half stuff is going to be, even if it's not 100% living up to expectations, I know it's going to be good at the very least. Whereas that one, it's an absolute punt, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things for me as well. Like, we're quite lucky because Systembolaget is run, not for profit, so we can get the Swedish beers for cheap that are, very, very good. And sometimes I'm taking punts on these very small Swedish breweries, but the prices aren't bad. You're talking like a £5 or something.
You're not priced out of it, are you?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about this like a £5. But I've got a couple of Trip Hills in there. I said, a Trip Hill, a brewery I don't know. Fuck it, 50 crowns. There you go, £4.50.
Crowns? Did you just say there?
Yeah, krona. Yeah, in Sweden, yeah, crowns. Yeah.
Oh, krona, not crown. Sorry, I thought you said crowns. I was like, I'm still.
No, I did say crowns. Yeah, I did say crowns. So,
but I had that from Ale Farm. Have you had much Ale Farm, James, from Denmark?
We're getting there's 2 Ale Farm beers coming out at the start of March that I'm going to get. But Ale Farm are a bit strange because they're based in Copenhagen, but then my shop that I go to in Copenhagen never seem to have them, so I don't know. But the thing, I mean, this is the thing for me, like the Swedish beers we can get for cheap. I mean, for example, I would consider, Stigberget's equivalent to Cloudwater or Track or something like this. I can get a 440 can of their beer, like a single IPA, for like 45 kroner. So that's like £4. I mean, that's cheap as shit. But when you go over to Denmark, you've got the free market there, but you'll pay 45 Danish, which is another 30% on the price. You'll pay like 45 Danish for, something from Gamma or from Dry and Bitter or something like this. And you're like, well, it's Danish beer. It's more expensive here. You're like, why not? But what I really resent is when you go into the American stuff and you're having to pay like 120 Danish. One Danish, it's about 8 Danish kroners per pound, just for reference. What I resent is when you're having to pay like 120 Danish for some of these American beers, and you're just like paying £15 for some of these ones, and you're like, why would I do that when I can get Danish stuff that is just as good and it's a fraction of the price? That for me, that's that. Like the import beers seem to be a lot, and I know that if I went to Scotland or if I went to Poland or whatever, or if that beer came through Systembolaget, it would be considerably cheaper. And usually, quite often that happens. The stuff that they get in Denmark, they'll get it a month or two before. Like they'll get some of the American stouts and sours and stuff like this a month or two before. And for that style, you're like, yeah, I'm not paying, just to wait for a month or two. It's not going to affect the beer. I'll just wait for it to come in Systembolaget, and you get it for like half the price. So, no. And there's a service now called Beer Dome. Glassbanken. Sorry. It's a Swedish company. We've got a warehouse in Copenhagen, so the beer comes from the Swedish breweries, gets driven down to Copenhagen, you order it, it gets driven back into Sweden. For example, Apex Brewing Company, you'll pay 90 kroners for one of their double IPAs. It comes out in Systembolaget, they rebrew it, it comes out in Systembolaget like maybe 2 months later. You get it for 45 kroners, you get it for half the price. It's like, why would you, And I hate paying. The other thing for me is I hate paying for postage. I hate postage.
Yeah, I'm cheap. I'll have like a basket that's got like 65 quid in it. I'd be like $2.99 posted. Like, fuck off.
that's too far.
Yeah, like that's far, man. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely don't have this kind of like border hopping. I mean, I go to the shops and they've got tenants and get that. They like dessert in a can because it tastes like cake. Yeah.
See, I actually looked when I was home. I looked to order, and there's a shop in Belfast called the Vineyard or something like that, and they've got a bunch of beers from the North and from the Republic. And I thought, oh, that could be cool. But then 20 quid postage, and I was like,
it's not worth half.
Yeah, when I have to pay like 6 quid postage, I always feel that's a bit of a shot to the heart. So like 20 quid.
Yeah, I think like a £5 is pretty standard postage. Well, $4.95, isn't it, for psychological pricing? But
and £5 is reasonable. I'd say I'd pay that depending on how many beers I have. Easy.
Yeah.
I'd pay it, but then if they say ship by DPD, it's like I'm paying £5 for my box to get kicked out of a 3rd-story window. That's not happening.
Yeah, absolutely battered. It's like the like Trembling Madness. I brought from them a few times, and they're I think it's $5.99 for their delivery. But their beers, because of the quantity that they buy, it's like it offsets it. So I think that's what you got to take that into account as well. Because like if I get stuff from like my local bottle shop, it seems way more expensive because they just have the full like markup on there. Whereas like Trembling Madness, it's sort of like when you start sort of doing the maths, it's like their beers are way cheaper, and then you just have to pay a £5 for delivery, and it's still cheaper than getting it like locally. I think it's a quantity thing as well. How much the bottle shop can actually sell it for and still make money comes into a lot of it.
Yeah, I think there's a novelty element as well. Like that Brazilian beer that I showed you earlier, I think I paid like maybe €5.50 for that. But as I say, how often are you going to come across a Brazilian beer? And then you've got the Beer Dome postage. I think I ended up paying like €130 for that Beer Dome order, but then I had like 12 Brazilian beers. I had like a few Russian things in there as well. And I mean, that's just, that's novelty. That is just sheer novelty. But these are two countries that you're going to have to pay more for the beer because of the tariffs. So that's another element to it.
Yeah, Russia and Brazil. That's a potent mix.
Oh yeah.
That's definitely something to shout about, I suppose. It's like, oh, it's Russian style. It's Russian. You can tell.
I mean, the Russian beers, though, if you guys come across the likes of AF Brew and Zagovor and things like that, those are very impressive, actually. They're like those are really, really good beers.
Yeah, I've had Zagovor at a festival. I think it might have been Hop City.
Yeah.
And I've heard of AF, but
I think the most exciting, other country beer that I've had is Sisk, which is sort of the Carling of Malta. It doesn't sound good. It's Sisk.
Yeah, nearly cyst, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very nearly cyst.
Yeah, and also it comes like a pus yellow can just to really
drive it home.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's. I mean, I'm kind of I'm going through this phase. I've got quite a few. My sort of beer meal thing that I've been building up has been going quite nicely. So I got the Finnish beers the other week. Next month is going to be an Austrian box, and that's going to be a mix of like traditional stuff and a few kind of crafty things as well, actually. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
So, and I mean, I sent Riku sent that box that Riku sent me. I paid him like €108 for that. And that was 50, I think that was 15, 16 beers. So,
okay.
It's not bad. He paid, in fairness, he paid half the postage. And he threw in a couple of beer, he threw in a few beers that he wanted me to try. But I paid I maybe paid 80% of it or something. I don't know. But Finland's expensive, so yeah.
I'm being a drinker at the minute. To be fair, there's not many kind of absolute bargain deals to be had. It's not kind of you're buying new barns for £1.50 or something. You're like, oh yeah, this is we're living in the good times, lads. But
you that was telling me there's another brewery near New Barns opening soon? There was someone telling me there's another brewery just across the road from New Barns or something called Moon Circle or something like that.
News to me. Doesn't surprise me. There's a lot going on in Edinburgh in terms of brewing and I mean, have you seen the people queuing for lobster rolls?
What is this, New York? Queuing down the street for lobster rolls. Well, I've got the glass I'm drinking out of is from Campervan Brewery, who are from Leith, because their bar is called Lost in Leith. They
do lovely work. I nipped along there a couple of years ago to try their Brew IPA because it was all the rage at the time to have champagne beer.
Brew IPA.
It was a short-lived trend.
Yeah,
it was
I'm glad that one went away.
It was the Pogs of the beer world.
Oh no, Pogs were great.
All right, Crazy Bones though. What do you want?
No, Crazy Bones are also great. I think you can see a theme here about collecting novelty stuff with that that time frame.
My mum loved Crazy Bones. I'd play that with her quite a lot. We'd kind of line them up, and she'd be like, "Oh, it
was very similar to marbles or something like that. It was just a variation of that." Yeah. Do you remember? Because an equivalent of that was Go-Go's. Do you remember Go-Go's? It was the same thing, just a different company, weird looking monsters.
Yeah.
I
remember there was a few. I remember Sharky because that was the super rare one, but it was also crap. It didn't.
Fucking hell. Yeah. That's something I haven't had in my brain for fucking 15 years, John. That Sharky thing. I remember it, and you could get different sort of colours of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my first bag, and I phoned my friend and be like, I got a Sharky. It was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to me.
What, on a landline? Did you phone him on a landline?
Yeah. Dial in the number. I couldn't just look up her name and be like, boop. It's dial in the number and pick up the receiver and wind the crank, and we had to put on the and using the top-up cards. Yeah, man. Dark days.
There we go. Well, that's another tickle. That is a really obscure. If anyone put Crazy Bones on on the bingo card, then they just win outright.
Pretty much, yeah. There's a few comments coming in. I'll quickly get through them. Barno and 1 litre cans make for fun nights. Barno. Over to you, James. You're the foreign expert.
Barno in 1 litre
Arno,
cans.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
I assume it's some big lager.
Whiskey. I'll just keep waving the neon every now and then. There we go.
Have you had any Swedish whiskies, John?
No. To that I defer.
We need to fix that.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I want to try the Grand tea for a while because I mean, green tea whiskey. Why wouldn't you? But no, I have not tried anything from Mackmire or anywhere else.
Oh, we've got Paul.
Cheers, my sexy UK kittens.
Paul's a big sexy beast. I love Paul.
No, I think they're talking about you. Get over it. Yeah, you. God, he's a lazy cunt. Jesus Christ. Have a great night. Will do. I'm assuming they're going to bed or just sick of this now.
Yeah. Well, considering there was a minute between his whiskey comment and then that comment, he really wanted you to drink whiskey.
Well, yeah. I've got plenty on the go. To be fair, I just need to go slowly because I mean there is enough on that shelf to pretty rapidly kill me if the mood took me. We're back to dark. This is nice.
Is Tuesday night your sort of regular streaming night, John, or was this just quite random?
This
random.
Yeah, this was completely off the cuff. Yeah, because like I was thinking, I'm like, should I do just like a midweek random one? I could do just like a midweek because I've been doing them on Sundays recently, for better or for worse, and I've been trying a bit too hard. I think probably. So I'm going to see how this week's goes for like the themed one, because they've been kind of going down a little in terms of numbers, in terms of interest, so, but in terms of numbers, they've been steadily declining. So if this week's kind of follows that trend, I'm probably like, okay, reevaluate and just do something closer to this instead. It's easier for one thing. Plus, I'm not sure if I can keep something going on my own for like an hour and a half. It's pretty easy.
Like doing the streams yourself is a little bit kind of boring, definitely.
Yeah. If it weren't for the cat, then people would switch off. He's pretty much the only thing that keeps it going, to be fair, which is understandable. What are you doing? He's chasing a sock now.
Your cat's broken.
He is, yes. No case. On the subject of, I meant to bring this up earlier as well. I remember the revival of Robot Wars. One of the teams is making toys. So there's Aftershock if anyone's...
Oh. I always used to like Hypnodisc.
Oh, yeah. That was always a fan favourite.
Yeah, I think I've got that kicking around somewhere.
Chaos 2, that was big in Suffolk because they came from Suffolk.
I liked Wheelie Big Cheese.
Yeah.
Because it was huge. And there was that one time where it threw something out from like halfway across the arena. It's like, oh, God.
And it had like a certain amount of flips. If it didn't kill it at a certain amount of flips, it just wouldn't work.
Well, that was like it broke 99% of the time. Yeah. But on the like 1% of the time where it actually worked, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, you did not want to be anywhere near that thing. But yeah, most of the time it just broke down or its wheels fell off. It was pretty badly made.
Did it have like sort of like spiked, like very shallow spiked wheels?
It did, yes. Yeah. It had like 2 large red drums.
Yeah.
wheels. It looked like Edam wheels, and it had like I think they were like the studs off of golf shoes.
Yeah, I remember
like,
that. Very, very shallow red spikes.
Yeah, get traction in what was essentially a wooden stage at that point. Yeah, and it just had like a giant cheese wedge that like opened and closed like a beak. Yeah, it was a really cool machine. But
I still remember they had an episode. There was 2 episodes that stick in my mind. There was the one where the ref robot got stuck in the pit, and then there was the ref robot reversed and like fell into the pit thing, and then there was also the one where like it was the winners of some of the tournaments or something went against the house robots, and the house robots just annihilated them.
The rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was always great when like one of them like flipped a house robot.
Yeah.
When one of them like knocked over Tequila lot or something, it's always like, what?
The only one that never got flipped. The only house robot that never got flipped. Apollo gave it a few good goes, but never happened. Even Mr. Psycho went over, but
never Tequila lot. It was too OP.
Neither incarnation went over.
Yeah.
I think more through luck than anything else, to be fair. I think Apollo could like catapult Mars. So
was there not one that was like an armadillo that was called Matilda or something?
Yeah, Matilda was one of the house robots. Yeah, Matilda. Yeah, it was like had like tusks and a saw on the back.
Yeah, I'm going to Google this now. Yeah,
pig, which was weird. She had a saw originally. And then they changed it out for a flywheel, and they just bombed everything to death. It was quite good.
I like the sort of original ones, like Sergeant Bash and Matilda. Yeah, and rather than like that one with the hammer, he just looked crap. Sort of like and then like the dog one. It's like no, just bring back the.
I liked because Growl had some real clout to him.
Yeah, they just didn't look great. They just didn't give me that vibe.
Yeah,
that aesthetic vibe.
There's a whole wiki fandom thing about Robot Wars and the house robots. So it's got a list: Cassius Chrome.
Yeah, he was the one who was rubbish as well.
Yeah. And then there was Dead Metal.
Yeah. He had that cool sort of like grabbed you and then it came forward and Dead Metal did.
Mm-hmm. I do actually. Sorry, hang on.
And then there was Growler, Matilda, Mr. Psycho, Refbot, Sergeant Bash. Yeah.
Sergeant Bash had a flamethrower. I remember that. Yeah, Dead Metal is the pincer, and then that bit came forward and sawed him.
Also, they never mentioned this on the toy, so I always just assumed it was static because the toys were really crap. And then I found out years later it actually does.
It does the movement.
It actually does the thing. I'm like, oh my god. There is somebody that's done a build diary. They've done a reconstruction of the original Dead Metal. It's like 10 parts of them building a brand new one. And it's actually really interesting because they go into like the minute details of like, what did the claws look like? What kind of metal did they use on the cage and stuff? And they build it from scratch. Just me? Okay.
That is such commitment to recreate it. I'll surely get hundreds of thousands of views on it though.
Nope.
No? Oh, okay. No, not even worth it for that.
Yeah, Rebel even more niche than the stuff we do, apparently.
Yeah.
If you're not like, I don't know, like what is popular on YouTube? They're just like old women falling into ponds. Like what gets the views these days?
Oh, that'll always be popular. But it's normally like rich people like being rich seems to be very popular.
Rich people being rich.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Reaction videos.
Oh fucking yeah! People reacting to other. I saw one and I didn't watch it. I saw the title. It was a
drawing.
No, it was a voice, a vocal coach reacting to a song, and then the person who sang the song was reacting to the vocal coach reacting to their song. And that is just like, that's just, who needs to watch that?
A lot of people, apparently.
Well, exactly. It had millions of views. So someone reacted to a essentially a music video, and then the person who did the music video reacted to somebody reacting to them. And it'd be fucking great if that person then reacted to them watching it, and it just keeps going.
Just a never-ending, it's an Ouroboros effect.
Yeah.
I might start up a rampant reactions, rampant line reactions,
rampant reactions,
rampant line reactions, heavy metal reactions. I could do that. I could do like ones for your channels, be like reacts to J Cole's Aldi review.
Oh no, you got to do the guy getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
Rampant lion reacts to John on the what's it called, the Mound in Edinburgh. Yeah. That'd be good. That would be quite funny.
I could totally make that into a video. Fat man climbs extinct volcano.
You'll never guess what happens. Question mark. Exclamation mark.
Pulled out a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, halfway up, and I was like, oh, the chub rub's killing me. I'm going back down. Bye. Put all these Robot Wars toys away. I am a 30-year-old man.
Yeah. I heard the restrictions are starting to get. They've announced in Scotland today the restrictions are going to start.
Well, apparently they're going to go even harder in Scotland.
Yeah, she's getting out of leathers now. Is old Sturgy.
I think she's trying to distract from the whole salmon thing. To be fair.
Well, yeah.
Because that does not look good for her. There's something really fishy going on between her and her husband.
Yeah, that's not going to end well.
Mm-hmm. I think without getting too political, I think that's why Angus Robertson. There was the whole thing between Angus Robertson and Cherry going into Holyrood, because I think it was known that was going to maybe end sturgeon. I've got a feeling it might, to be honest, but we'll see.
We'll have to see. I mean, not people in power have kind of things, so we'll just kind of have to see what happens. But, yeah.
When is the election? Because I actually need to register for my. I need to sort out like a postal vote actually for the election.
It's coming up. I think it's March.
I thought it was May. I thought it was in May we had the election.
I'm not sure. I might be getting my M's mixed up.
Are you allowed? I take it you're allowed to vote in the Scottish general election.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just. It sounds bad. I'm kind of voted out.
Yeah, Thursday, 6th of May.
There we go.
Yeah.
So not March then. Not even close. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I need to phone them up because I'm sure I was on the internet the other day and trying to figure it out, and I was just too tired, and I thought, fuck it, I'll look at it another time.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out either how to vote by proxy and get my friend to do it, or how to vote by post from abroad. But yeah, I'm allowed to vote in Sweden now. It's quite strange. We're like, oh, okay, I need to read up on the parties and what they actually do. Yeah.
It's like, which one's the nice one and which one?
Well, there's a party called Centerpartiet, and I'm just like, nothing really bad happens in the centre. That could do it. I don't know. I need to read a little bit more about the parties here. I've got a fair idea, but yeah. No, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Are you guys up to anything exciting this week?
Just normal lockdown week. It's been nice weather. Today.
I did the cardboard recycling today, so that killed half an hour. Might throw the daffodils out in the next couple of days. That's about it. It's a very uninteresting life at Casa John just now.
Do you live in Leith, John?
No, I'm in Slateford.
Sleaford, let me have a look.
Total opposite. It's the bit that no one wants to live in.
Oh, right, spelling it wrong, that's why. Sleaford, Edinburgh.
Slateford, not Slagford.
Okay. How do you actually spell this again? My brain isn't working.
Slateford.
Oh, Slateford, right? Slateford. That's right. I thought you said like Slateford. Okay. Sorry, that's just my brain being communist.
Okay.
Oh, right, sort of southwestish Edinburgh. Okay.
Yeah.
How long does it take you on the bus to get up to the centre?
10-15 minutes, depending on traffic.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I'm right by the Caledonian Brewery. So that's
right. Oh, right, okay. No, I'm just looking on the map, spying on you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't go stealing milk.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been having a wee look at that. I keep getting like stuff through, like offering me jobs in Edinburgh, and I'm like, I don't really want to go home. Like, yeah.
There's a booming economy in ripping off tourists. What you do is you open the doors and you go traditional, Scottish, traditional, Scottish, Scottish, traditional. Luck. Ghost.
But see, I'm a programming data bitch, so I'd be working for like RBS or Halifax or BlackRock or Morgan Stanley or something. So I'm just like, I'm a computer bitch basically. It's not bad because it's good money, but then again, you're literally just like plugging data and making graphs and stuff. So.
I mean, we're all just waiting to retire, aren't we? That's where the fun kicks in.
Oh yeah.
That's really a depressing thought. That's.
I'm looking forward to Scrabble and not having to wipe my own arse. It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got
I always tell my kids that. I was like, when I'm changing nappies, like, you're going to return the favour one day when I'm like an old 90-year-old. You're going to have to do this for me. But and it's going to be way worse.
But see, Jake, your children have got. But Jake, your children. But see, Jake, your children have got some of the best grins I've seen. I bet they just sit and go like, ha ha.
There's a lot of fun.
Your kids have honestly got like some of the best grins I've ever seen. I've just been like, yeah, those kids have like the best evil grins I've ever seen.
it can be quite sinister sometimes, but no, they're very happy children. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. It makes it easy.
They get weekly ice cream, so I mean,
yeah, homemade ice cream.
Yeah,
homemade cocktails as well. They join the cocktail. It makes bedtime very easy.
Very amenable.
Yeah. But it's funny because like my daughter, she likes looking at the beer cans and stuff. So it's like she like when I get a new beer mail, she'll want to help me unpack it and like look at the beer cans and like, oh, what's that one? She likes like smelling them. So I'm already getting like a beer partner there.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Wow. Have you in the sock fallen out? Yes. Okay.
That's arse rub there. Just to finish off.
Cheers, pal. Freak. What's going on there? Just had the Cockhail 160 ale and vintage. Both were lovely.
Oh, the ones Adam sent.
That was Adam's box, yeah.
Yeah.
I've meant to pick up the 160 recently.
It's a lovely beer, yeah.
because we were talking about shillings not so long ago. Thought that would be.
Oh yeah, I did the review that you reckon. I did the review that I was telling you I was going to do, John, the Poyala one.
Yes, I need to catch up with that actually.
That was my camcorder died, so I had to film it on my phone. So it's like blurry as shit because of the natural light in the room. It's like bastard. So the video quality on that one's not as good, but the review I think is good. I was just like, yeah, I can't really change that now. Never edited so much, so forget.
Work with what you got, don't you?
Yeah.
I liked your Instagram post, John, with the coins and like the yellow glove
Yeah,
that you're wearing to hold the coins. I thought that's great.
I think I need to follow you on Instagram actually.
I had a horrible hangnail the day I went to take those photos, and I was like, "Oh, that's not good. That looks like my. Ugh. It looks like I'm trying to unzip my thumb. It was.
It made it to me. It made it look like those coins were like really worth something.
Yeah,
because you had like the glove on.
So I was like, "What can I do?" So I've got those gloves. So I was like, "This is the best I can do on short notice." It was that, or stick them on Mo's face, but he probably wouldn't have like played along. So speaking of which, what are you doing?
It's going to destroy the typewriter.
Don't eat the orchid. It might be poisonous. I don't know. Good boy.
That's like when we had the German Shepherds. It's like, no, king brown snakes are not a good toy. It's like, oh.
He got into the bins recently. On Pancake Day, I made some pancakes, and the first one I burnt it, so that went in the bin. Finished my pancakes, did them, went out and did something else. Came back. He's got like a scratching bed thing over there. And this burnt pancake was on his like scratching post with a nibble taken out. And I was like, really? You went through the bins to fish out a burnt pancake? Are you kidding me? And then left it there. So
just have a little bit of it.
Yeah, it was like, I want a pancake too, so I'm going to have a, yeah.
What did he have on it? Was it lemon and sugar or? my kid on Pancake Day, my kids did not like the pancakes.
Ooh, awkward.
Yeah.
What kind did you make though?
We're just normal sort of like crepes.
Okay.
Like thin, but like we had like chocolate sauce. They didn't particularly like that. Didn't like the jam. Like we had jam. I had lemon and sugar, but they were just like, nah. Maybe when we're older.
It's like, we don't like pancakes. We've decided.
Yeah. Whereas I had like 9. I had like 9 pancakes, and like I had like a proper massive belly after it.
You're
just full of stodge.
You're just there trying to like, just bring me my pills and a blanket. Yeah.
Just don't no one talk to me for a bit. just leave me.
Just leave me where I drop.
Oh man.
But I'm gonna. This is gonna be my last drink of this. Well, it's now Wednesday. We've got all the way to Wednesday, and as it's John Channel, I'm gonna have my finest Aldi single malt. A wee dram. This is what I made my whiskey cocktail out with the other day.
You should start doing like your Sunday cocktails.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, that's like
yeah.
my mine and my wife's sort of like date night. Is we make each other a cocktail on a Sunday to like end the week and end the week on sort of thing, because it's always tricky to find time, even in lockdown when you got like 2 kids. So it's like we make each other a cocktail.
Cocktails and ice cream. What's not to love?
Exactly. Yeah. that would be the name of my biography. Cocktails and ice cream. But yeah, so yeah, but because we had like a load of tequila, so that's why like all of them were tequila cocktails. And then now we've got like whiskey to get through, so we're going down the whiskey cocktail route. Okay. So, but the one I made on Sunday, Brown Derby, which was a shocking name for a cocktail, but it was damn delicious.
Yeah, a Brown Derby sounds like, is that curry house the other night? Oh, real Brown Derby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like an act.
And it's an American cocktail, so it's probably Brown Derby, as in the hat. But it was good. It was like, so it was like grapefruit juice, lemon juice, whiskey. You're supposed to use bourbon, but I don't have any bourbon, so I used cheap single malt and honey, and it was fucking delicious. It was really good. I'm becoming a big cocktail fan. But they all turn out the same color, no matter what we do. So like we use different. Like I actually juiced a grapefruit to make it. I didn't buy like Tropicana grapefruit juice.
Yeah.
And it still turns out it's a bit like Neapolitan ice cream. When you just mix everything together, it still just turns out that one color. Until we so we even took just pour in like a bit of Chambord or something in it just to give it a little just different hue to just sort of lemon juice colored. It
was like hues of brown. That's the name of the recipe book.
Yeah, that's my second autobiography. It's my follow-up. First is ice cream and cocktails, followed by hues of brown. But yeah, it's good because I've never really my wife's always loved cocktails, and I've just never gone. Well, I've had some. Like I really used to love White Russians. I have to try and make my own White Russian.
I do like a White Russian,
yeah. And I really like whiskey sours, but it's just the egg bit at home weirds me out. Like when someone makes me a whiskey sour, I'm like fine with it, but like the sort of having to manipulate egg to make it.
There's a couple of alternatives. Hold on. I've got one on the shelf, I think. I might have shown you this one already. If you ever want to do like sours and stuff and you want an egg white substitute.
I've seen that in one of your videos. Yeah, I think you've mentioned that. Yeah.
Or alternatively, if you ever have a can of chickpeas, drain off the water from it and keep it. Aquafaba, it's just chickpea water, and that is an alternative emulsifier. Yeah. It's known as aquafaba in cocktail joints because they don't want to be like 10 chickpea water. Is that just no? Yeah. Doesn't tickle the vulva in the same way as aquafaba does.
No. So that sounds much better. But yeah. So I'm going to get more. Like at the moment, we've just been sort of like smashing up fruit and then putting it with liquor and calling it cocktail.
That is a cocktail.
And it does the job. And we've been getting fancy. We've been doing like I did like a chili. Like I did a chili and mango sort of not mojito, pina colada, but with like mango and like chili sort of thing. And I actually did like a chili salt rim. So we've been trying to get like fancy with it.
There's been some effort made. It's been cool to see.
Yeah, like my wife's got some weird aversion to like bitters, and I'm like, when have you had bitters? How do you know that? She's like, I don't want it in my drink, and I'm like, but how much how have you ever just drank them singular? Why do you know you don't like bitters? It's a very strange stance to take.
What flavor of bitters doesn't she like?
Well, it's I think it's the you know that is it Angostura bitters, like the common like she's like no, and every recipe we look up it's like bitters is in it. It's a weird stance, but we're upholding it at the moment.
I mean, Fee Brothers does lots of different flavors. One of which is, to be fair, actually Angostura does a chocolate bitters now, so. That could be one to turn her around. Yeah. Chocolate bitters.
I just don't know where she's experienced all these bitters that she knows she doesn't like them. That's what I'm trying to get my head around.
If she's opened a bottle of Angostura and gone, that will floor you. So
because I'm like, it's an ingredient. It's not like the main focus.
It's like an extract.
Yes.
Therefore. But yeah, I mean, you can sub out the bitters
Mhm.
for different ones.
Yeah, it's like when it said like grenadine, we've just put a Chambord in it. Just add more alcohol to it.
Chambord's always a good one to have in the cupboard.
Yeah.
I've got it's a collection of 2 Chambord books from, I think, the early noughties or maybe the 90s. One of them is like making drinks with Chambord. It's all your obvious stuff. Like, stick it in champagne, make not a porn star, a fucking whatever the other slag cocktail is. French martini, that's the one.
Yeah.
And then the other one is cooking with Chambord. Now, there's a lot of veal in there. And there's a lot of, what's the other one where you torture? Foie gras.
Yeah.
So basically anything where you have to torture the animal to get the food out of it. I think there was chicken nuggets in there as well. But there was one where it was like, it was like a goat's cheese salad, and it was like, yeah, just ripple the goat's cheese with Chambord, and I was like, okay, now you've got me on board.
That actually sounds delicious.
Yeah, Chambord goat's cheese.
Yeah.
I'd stick my dick in that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So that's probably the only food. Again, to be fair, everything else is like something out of a fucking Saw cookbook. So
yeah.
That's the only thing that doesn't involve, brutalizing an animal. So, So give that a go.
Yeah, maybe this Sunday. Don't know, foie gras Chambord. Chambord mix.
I was like, thank you. I strangled the goose myself.
I really overfed this goose just for you, just for this Sunday.
Oh god, that's Sunday. She's there in a lovely dress with like candles, and just you in the kitchen. What's going on in there? It's fine. This is going fucking mental.
Fucking die quickly.
He's like shoving cream crackers down its throat. It's like, right, this thing. Because that's basically how foie gras is made.
Yeah. They just overfeed a goose, don't they, till it gets a fatty liver. That's essentially what happens, isn't it?
They force feed it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's been more than a fair few studies of geese that are fed in that way. They actively recoil from humans and stuff like that. They act as if they've got PTSD and stuff. It's not good. It's really not
well, I saw a thing before, and I don't know how true it is, and it's like, again, it's absolutely barbaric. Like if they sort of like bang the goose on the floor, and if it makes like a hollow sound, they know it's not ready. But if they bang it on the floor and it's like, and it makes like a completely sort of like dead sound, they know it's like ready to be made into foie gras, which is just crazy, isn't it? It's like there's like nothing left in it to make a hollow sound. It's crazy, absolutely mad. Another one to tick off on the bingo card tonight.
Yeah, another one for it's like torturing people.
But I mean, it's even like I don't know how if I want to go into this, but like halal and stuff bothers me. Because obviously it's quite a different way of killing an animal. That isn't necessarily great for the animal.
It's very cruel, yeah. The Danes have actually banned halal meat because they say it's cruel. And one of the Danish ministers came out and said, yeah, animal rights, in our book, animal rights come above religious rights. That was quite interesting. So that caused a bit of a stir.
Well, probably won't it? But yeah, fair.
Yeah. I actually better head off, guys, because it's like 1:20 here, so I probably should go and sleep.
Fair enough. We've actually been on the go for like 2.5 hours, so probably wrap this up. To be fair, so
yeah, I feel cheered up though, John.
I always enjoy coming on, John.
I don't know how, because I mean we've been all over some of the darkest shit you can.
Also, Pokemon. We had that nice Pokemon chat.
we had Pokemon, you know.
Right.
Been miming torturing animals and other dark things on the internet. We've been places.
Well, because what isn't Pokemon if it's not torturing animals for fun?
Pokemon is, yeah.
Oh God! Look what you've done.
Yeah, it's the only way to know. It's like when you go to the supermarket and you squeeze like mangoes to make sure that they're ripe enough. It's like, oh, that one's squishy. I don't want that one.
Somebody in the comments is going to go into Sainsbury's and get like one of those like already dead geese and just
be banging it. It bounces. No, definitely not.
No, this one's not good enough. And it's like people go over to the supermarket. It's like there's a guy throwing geese on the floor. What? Live one? Oh.
No.
It's like that episode, you know, remember that Vine or whatever it was where it's like the bag of those chicken things and you push down on it, it's like Wah!
Oh yeah. The dog toys. Yeah.
I started doing that in I was with Michiko in Japan and we took the little guy out to a shop and I just like we were in the shopping mall and I just pushed down on these things. I was like, Wah! Because Japanese people would never do this, so I was just like the stupid white guy, like causing chaos in the Japanese world of cam. Yeah.
I always do that when we go to toy shops. Just like press every button.
Yeah.
Set everything off in on the toy aisle. So we got to try it.
It's the same for me. Like I was putting Thomas the Tank Engine on the TV all the time. It's for him. It wasn't. It was for me.
Yeah.
I love Thomas the Tank Engine. Especially the old ones, like where it's the proper trains.
Yeah, not like CG.
Those older ones can get like dark.
Oh,
There's one where they like bricked up another train for like being naughty, and they bricked him into a tunnel.
He didn't want to get his paint. I watched that one recently. Yeah. Actually, Henry didn't want to go out in the rain because his paint would get wet.
So they bricked him up in a tunnel, and it's like his eyes are just above like the tunnel. Like it's really bad.
That it's sort of a visceral memory of torture, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And like Ringo Starr narrating over the top of it.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a series where Pierce Brosnan does it as well.
Oh, okay. That's the natural progression from Ringo.
It's attracted some real talent, Thomas the Tank Engine, over the years, hasn't it? I mean, you know, series like Coronation Street and Doctor Who just don't get a look in by comparison. Chuck a goose and chuck a chicken.
Thomas the Tank's awesome though. Definitely. Love a bit of Thomas. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, sleepy shit.
Right, I'm going to wrap this up because obviously it's late. Thank you everyone who participated. Thank you everyone who's left comments. Everyone remember to throw geese on the floor.
It's the only way to know. It's the only way.
Live and let live, except when it's geese.
If it makes a hollow sound, it's not ready. Feed it some more.
Yeah.
Here's the leave the geese alone.
All we are saying is leave geese alone. That's our charity single.
80s version was for my daughters. Yeah. I still like one of my favourite things is Paul's daughter's favourite axe.
That was a great stream when his very small daughters came on with axes.
Yeah.
That's still one of the all-time great beer tube moments, I think.
Yeah, that's
just his daughters wandering on with axes, just like.
Yeah.
Can we throw these?
Yeah, so we've got Peter's cat's fur ball, we've got Raggy's exploding bottle, and then we've got Paul's axe wielding daughters.
Does Brett being sickle down himself not make that list?
I still need to see that. I've never seen that.
I'm not sure if that makes one of the all-time great moments. That one.
Certainly an adventure, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I think that was my second or third live stream. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah, it was a trial by fire.
Well, yeah, like
Trial by vomit.
Does this happen every fortnight? Is this a thing?
Yeah, well, it's even like Harry's Sunday stream that he did. Like Brett just had his tits out.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Brett's
Yeah, was it like Thomas got his arse out recently as well? Like,
That was on the same stream on a Sunday, just a nice Sunday afternoon.
I think they encouraged each other, to be honest.
Yeah.
a lot of needless nudity.
And Thomas does it with no one's asking for it. No one's egging him on. No one's saying, yeah, do it. He just does it.
Because he's furry.
Yeah.
He doesn't need an internet connection if he's got a full-length mirror.
Yeah.
And on that note,
yeah, definitely ending it now before we go on off another tangent.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining and doing things. We will see you again another random night.